this is database, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is that what you're printing, the 135?
So before I get you going, I wanted to show them the 135 because we just got done talking about lead generation. And that's one of the tools we use. Ms. So, good morning.
Good morning. Isn't great? If I give this to them?
We're about to start getting it out. Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I want one of these when you're done.
You will get one. Good morning, everybody online. How y'all doing today? Miss Katie, Mr. David, Mr. Edwin, Miss Lori, Miss Kathy, Miss Anne Marie, Mr. Jose, Miss Erin. Miss Erin, remind me next time you're in person, I owe you a Starbucks gift card because you got the answer right on that lawyer question yesterday. And I'm gonna give you guys a shot. Without leads, what? You were first. You got one coming. You got one coming. I'll give you some good stuff. So I am not going to be with you guys today. So congratulations to you guys. You get a good teacher today. But I did want to, before I turn it over to Miss Veronica, I want to go over two quick things. First one is I have got your form set up to start tracking your daily 10-4. And we give out prizes and do that fun stuff. So it's a way to kind of get some gift cards, do that stuff. I will send the link out to everybody today, but it's pretty easy. You just go to kwcignite.com. And it will be just a simple form. Why it needs to get edited, because that should say your last name up front. So I'll make sure that gets changed. This should say number of real estate building and relationship conversations. This should say number of contacts added to your database, number of handwritten notes, and number of homes previewed. And I'll put in there, these are daily, your 10 conversations, your contacts added to your database, and your handwritten notes, and your number of homes is previewed. And you just hit submit. And so you want to get in the habit of doing that for class each day, and we'll start tracking that and seeing who's adding the most people to their database, who's having the most conversations. Really nice way to get in the habit of knowing your numbers at a very easy level, so that once you get through Ignite, we can help you set up which numbers you're going to track in your business, but start to develop that habit. Top agents at Keller Williams, you go down to Gary Keller's mastermind. Every month he has a mastermind with the top 100 agents. You can run into one of those agents at 10 o'clock at night on 6th Street. And if you ask them their goals, they're going to know where they are in relation to them, what their goal is, what their numbers are. Top agents know their numbers. It's a business, and we want you to start treating it like that. And one of the ways to do that is to track it. Why do we want to track it? Well, that makes it more predictable. This is a business where you aren't given a guaranteed every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck. But if you know your numbers, you can start to track for success. Knowing, okay, every 20 people I talk to, I get an appointment. Every 3 appointments I go on, I get 2 deals. So we can then take your goal and know exactly, once we start to know your numbers, exactly what those actions need to look like. We've got a program that can literally tell you how many times you need to be on the phone dialing people. How many times do I need to hear the word no before I get my yes? So that every morning I know exactly what I need to do to get to the goal. So we start off with the goal and we build it down. Does that make sense? So we want to start tracking those numbers. So I'll send you guys out the link, but it's kwcignite.com, and that'll just transpose everything onto a spreadsheet for me. Second thing I want to go over before I turn the room over is a goal setting template we use. You will have a copy of this in your Ignite folder here in about 3 minutes, but it is called a 135 template. It's something a lot of us here at Keller Williams use. I use it myself. For both my production side of business and for my coaching. And it's a pretty simple way to plan out your year. It's kind of the same thing. It's the Dresden doll approach. First, we want to know your big why. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to be 5 years from now? So to get where we want to be in 5 years, what needs to be accomplished in the next 12 months? This is the perfect time, obviously, to be getting your goals for the new year. We're starting in January. Moving forward, you'll start setting your annual goals typically in about October. I imagine that's when you guys set yours. We do our business planning clinic in October, knowing that really the actions that we put in October, November, and December really determine our January, February, and March. Well, being that it's the beginning of the year, it's still a really good time to make sure I've got goals to hit this year and to keep in front of me. So the way this works is right up here is the main business objective goal for the year. This can be, I want to close 24 transactions this year. I want to net $150,000 this year. What is it you want? What's the big goal for the year? Production-wise is one of the ways we use this. Then those next 3 boxes are your strategies or sub-goals. The way I view this is, okay, I want to sell 25 homes this year. So what are the main lead generation levers? So we talked about the last 2 days, really dove into different ways to market and prospect for your business. Obviously, there's thousands of others that we didn't go over, but we covered a lot of the big main ones. So I don't expect you to know exactly what you want your business to look like, but I want you guys to start thinking, what are the 2, 3, maybe even 4, sometimes 5 ways that I want to hit that goal? So if I want to do 25 transactions for myself, open houses is a big one. And I might in parentheses put 10, because I want to get 10 deals out of my open houses over the course of the year. Maybe my second lever is my database. We're going to talk about that a lot today. Now with my database, I kind of combine that into social media, because I use social media to be a part of my database. You could separate them out. There's a way to do that, but I kind of see those as kind of communicating together. My third,
Hey, Hunter, can you show the form to online?
oh my gosh, yes, I can. I forget the silly little screen share button. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. So yeah, your main goal up top. And then what are the levers of lead generation you would like to use to hit that goal? We talked about how it's very rare that I see agents not succeed because they don't do anything. Most of you didn't get up this morning and come to Ignite. You didn't go through 6 weeks of real estate school. You didn't spend all day on Zoom taking all these classes so that you could get here and do nothing. The issue is sometimes we try doing everything and not really committing. So this is a way to kind of keep front and center. Here's what I'm going to focus on. So while mine might be open house, database, and online leads, I may also still get like a referral deal this year. I may end up picking up a FISBO. It's just not the focus. It's not where a majority of my actions are. We call it the Pareto's principle. 20% of your actions will net you 80% of your results. So this is my 20%. This is what I focus on. This is where I spend my time. And then what we do, and this is how we help in coaching. And so underneath, there's kind of what they call 5 tactics for reaching each sub-goal. In other words, what are the activities I need to do if I need to get 10 deals out of my open houses? What does my activity level need to look like? And that's where we in coaching help is we have those plans. So if you came to me and I'm meeting like Stacy, for example, I'm meeting with her this afternoon after Ignite. Talk about coaching. One of the things we'll start working on is creating a business plan of 1, 3, 5 for her business. Now, I don't expect her to know, okay, I want to get 10 transactions from open houses. I don't expect you to be able to tell me, here's the exact activities I think I need to do. You're brand new, you probably don't know. How many should you be doing a week? How many should you do a month? What kind of follow-up systems in place? And so that's where we in the coaching department have created a blueprint plan of action for each lead generation lever you may choose. So if you told me I want to really focus on for sale by owners, I really liked it when you said fastest source of business opportunity, and I'm looking for a fast source of business. Great, we've got a plan for you. So I'm going to get this printed. I'm having some printer issues this morning, and I'm going to get today's handout printed once I turn it over to Miss Veronica here. But I wanted to walk you guys through that so that hopefully I'm going to get a chance to start meeting and working with you guys in coaching. But I'd love you to start kind of just thinking, what's my goal for the year? What's going to make this year a success for you? You and I are sitting here a year from now, popping bottles of champagne. I'm drinking my Mountain Dew or my Mellow Yellow, and we're celebrating you because you had an amazing 2021 in business. What does that need to look like? And then what are the lead generation levers that we've talked about, the different ways to market and prospect, are you thinking might be the right fit for your business? Maybe you're not sure yet, and that's okay. We're gonna continue to learn more about each one of those methods and really deep dive into some of them. But if you've got an idea, start penciling them in. And then what you and I will get together is start working on putting that plan in place. Does that kind of make sense? Start with that main goal. What are the 3, maybe 4, maybe even 5? I really don't want to go any higher than 5 ways that I want to build that business. And then we'll start to put that plan in place so that it's nice and easy. If you put open houses, we'll have a plan in place that you decide on. We give you the blueprint, but it's only a blueprint. It's ultimately your business, you're an independent contractor. You decide which actions do I want to commit to and be held accountable to this year so that I hit those goals. So I think it's a really nice tool. And then what we do is we take this, and we'll go over it next class, is another tool that we kind of transpose it into so that we can break it out into weekly segments and know exactly what do I need to accomplish each week. Because one of the things I know as a young agent and new agent was I would come to the office and I knew I needed to do something, right? The good agents were always doing something. I didn't know what to do. I'm not a lazy person. I just didn't have a plan. And so I would come in, I would have lead generation sitting on my calendar, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I know I need to lead generate, but we want to specify. And so that when we start to write out your calendar, really concentrate on time blocking, instead of it saying lead gen from 9 to 11, it can say lead gen, database, 20 calls. The next day, lead gen, open house call, so that I could come in every morning, look at my calendar. I always use the expression, sober you is going to set drunk you up for success. Sober you is the person that sits down and plans out the business at the beginning of the year. You're going to get busy. We're going to start working with clients. You're going to be out in the field showing homes. And it's so easy if you don't have that plan in place to focus all your efforts on the running the business and not the growing the business. So we want sober you to prepare drunk you so that you can be successful. So that when it does get busy, we've already got the plan in place. And we just have to keep following it. Does that make sense? Rock and roll. Well, I am going to turn the floor over to Ms. Veronica Warwick. She is one of our awesome ALC members. You are the head of which committee? Culture. Culture committee, which is kind of a big thing in this office. Culture is pretty amazing in this office. I spent the last 3 years from the West Coast. It's a little sad to see. There's not a lot of culture in Keller Williams. I think the farther you get away from Texas, the more it just becomes a little bit of just another brokerage out there. Didn't have the family-like atmosphere that this office has. So this is a really special place. I'm glad to be back home because of the culture of this office. So I can't think of a better teacher for you guys today. She's going to dive into database, which for 80% of agents, that's their #1 lead generation lever. If you knock out your database, there's a good chance number 2 and 3 aren't going to matter a ton because the majority of your business is going to be database. For most agents in this market center, if we went back and tracked their business in 2020, it would be a result of their database. Either people directly in it or referrals out of it. Talked about if you can get that database up to 200 people typically and put them on that 36 touch campaign, within a year, you should start to see close to about a 10% return rate. So for 200 people in my database, a year from now, I should be expecting about 20 transactions a year if I'm effectively and systematically communicating to them. And so Ms. Veronica is going to help you guys understand the importance of how to set it up and how she used her database to make herself a rock star ALC member. So the floor is all yours. I'm going to try to get everything printed out. What else can I do to help you?
Is there a way to upload this so that the virtual can see it?
Yep.
All right, hello, you guys. How much are all of you, except for Mike, I know, are all of you set up in Command? And how do I hear them? Are they on?
You guys feel free to unmute yourselves today to talk. Once you're done talking, go back on mute, but we'd love to hear from everybody online. We can hear you again today, so we're going to let you guys share as well.
So is everybody set up on Command? Is there any, everybody, okay. So as you well know, Command is our I want to say our meat and potatoes of our business. It's where we go to do everything. So our database is going to be the hub of our business. So, and I'm going to use Mike as an example because I know about Mike for years. And when he decided to become an agent, I said to him, you know, you're not in school yet, you're not an agent yet, but here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Take a one note or one subject spiral notebook. And on the first page, you put everybody that you consider your A-listers, you know, A-list clients or soon to be A-list clients. Those are the people that are going to, without a shadow of a doubt, they would recommend you for real estate. If they knew anybody wanted to buy, sell, or invest, they would recommend you, or they would call you if they ever decided they want to be in real estate. I can't see you guys. Hold on, let me fix this. Enter. I'm gonna have to wait till he gets back because I cannot see you guys. Show grid video.
What do we got?
I'm trying to see them.
All right.
You took them away and I can't see faces. So then, you know, you have your B clients, so to speak, people that know you, but aside from knowing that you're in real estate, they also may know somebody that's a coworker or a brothers, you know, somebody in the family, some friends, they also know that they are real estate agents. So what do you have to do to get those people onto your A-listers? A lot of that is by you staying top of mind. Okay. So a lot of it is by you staying top of mind. And how do we do that? Well, in our database, we create the smart plans. And there's so many different smart plans you can set people up on. One that we used to have, and I'll have to find out if we still do that, I really liked was a did you know? And it would send out monthly emails like, did you know your household tips? Dryer sheets can be used for more than drying clothes. I actually had somebody call me when they received my did you know? They're like, this is a great tip. I had no idea. Thanks so much. By the way, my cube mate is looking to sell her house. So as they get these smart plans on a monthly basis, it's all branded to you. It keeps you top of mind. And a lot of it is not all real estate related because if you start saying nothing about real estate, they'll opt out. And that's not what you want. So you want to come from contract. You want to come from, like here, I'm helping you. Here's a household tip that you could use. So create your database based on your A-listers, your B-listers, and C, and then work on those people that you need to move into that A or B category so you can get them to A. And there's so many different ways to do that. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me, I'm new to the area. I don't really know anyone. If you go to your Facebook friends, now you may not know anybody personally, you may have somebody in common, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, but they're on your page and they're following you. I just had an agent in Houston actually on Monday. She said, there's so many people on my Facebook contacts and I cannot know everyone. So I'm going to pick and choose a few and say, listen, you're on my Facebook page. I follow you, you follow me. Not really sure how we know each other, but I'd love to grab coffee. She said response was great. And so she's getting to really know people that are in her Facebook contacts. And she's moving those people from her Facebook contacts to her command database. One of the things that I did early on in my career to set up my database, to have a reason to call them, is say, hey, listen, I'm new in real estate. I'm setting up my database. I just realized I don't have your email address. And by the way, how have you been? And so they're more willing to say, oh, yeah, you're in real estate. We've been great. Here's my email address. One of my missions this year, 2021, my team and I, we're going to send handwritten birthday cards. So we don't need to have like their actual birthday. I just need a month. Because let's say, so in December, I took everybody that was a January birthday and I mailed out those cards. It may not get them on their actual birthday, but they're going to get a birthday card. And that's another excuse to contact them and say, hey, I want to make it my mission to send you a birthday card this year. Nobody sends handwritten cards or handwritten notes. Everybody does it electronically. So there's lots of ways to get in contact with your database. I had another agent say, well, you know, I only know 20 people. I said, okay, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'll ask you guys too, and think about this for a minute. I said, I only have a handful of people that I call my core group or my friends. So you're going to have a humongous birthday party. And at this party, you're going to invite one of the best musical artists that you can think of. So then you're going to invite everybody that you know. And each person that you know, you're going to ask they can bring a person. Okay. So after it's all said and done, you have this really great artist coming to play at your event. How many people do you think would actually show up? And her response to me was like, oh, I don't know, maybe 300 or 400. I said, you just told me you only had a handful of people that you knew. So, it's like that. They say, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. We all in some way have that 6 degrees of separation. It's just a matter of taking the time to go through and finding out who these people are and how you know them. So that takes me to a system that we use here, and Hunter just put it on. Hunter, I don't know how I'm gonna share it with you. It's called the DTD2. It's Do the Database 2. Now, what this is, it helps you to keep up with how to organize your database. And I'll go over how to do that for you. Let me see if I can get it up on the screen for you guys to see. We could do that, share. Hunter. That's not it. Can you guys see that?
No.
No, okay, hold on. Hunter, I need you. I don't see the share screen button.
Green.
Oh, thank you guys. Okay, there you go. So this is how you can stay in touch with your database. This is for the whole year. So what you do is you take 2 initials of your database. It's called a 3-attempt approach. So let's say you have 50 in your A and W group. You call on the first Monday and you get a hold of 15. You call on Wednesday and you get a hold of, let's say, 10. Then you get a hold, you've talked to 25. Thursday, you call and you connect with another 10. Now you've talked to 35 out of 50, okay? When you leave a message, you're always gonna make it okay for them not to have to call you back. You're gonna say, hey, this is Veronica. I was just calling to catch up. I know you were really busy. I'll reach back out to you later in the week. So when you call back, they know, or they're anticipating you calling them back, because you said, I'm gonna call you back later in the week to catch up. So they're not surprised when you're calling. They expect you to be calling them. So then when you do call them back, you're saying, hey, I'm just calling back like I promised, because you told them, hey, I'm gonna call back. So this system was created because we have a very bad habit of calling people that we are directly connected with. Oh, I'll call Sherry because I've known Sherry for years and, we're really good friends and we used to work together. That's a habit we have because it's comfortable. So you don't want to come out of your box to call somebody that you know who they are, you follow them on Facebook, or you worked with them years ago, but you don't know them really well enough to say, hey, how are you doing? We've got to come out of our comfort zone in this business, especially. So get out of the habit of just calling people that you know directly that you're comfortable with calling. This is a way to do that, because now you're committing to calling your A to W's, and then you're going down the line. And then so you're going to call your B's and E's and your D's and O's. That's your commitment. Regardless of how well you know these people, you're going to call them because you have to get through your database. And that's a way to organize it and get it set up. There are people that you haven't spoke to in a couple of years. You have to power through it, and you just have to call them, no matter how long it's been since you've connected with them. So this is the first step to be organizing your database.
I'll pull that up real quick on the screen for you.
I just did.
I can make it bigger.
Oh, you can? Okay, go ahead. So, and forgive me for taking notes, because I put these together, I thought I didn't want to miss anything. So this step is going to help you organize your database. If you work through your contacts, whether it's Facebook, phone contacts, you might ask yourself, how do I know this person? Did our kids go to school together? Because we'll just start dumping names, and you can meet someone at an open house and you just put, Mr. Smith or Joe Smith, and you've got his phone number, you got his email address, and then we get busy and doing other things. We're like, how do I know Joe Smith? So when you go into your database and you set up your A and Ws, fill in as much information as you can. Make your notes on how you know this person. So when you do get ready to call them, you're like, hey, I met you at an open house. Or hi, Julie, you and I know Mike together, or we were in a networking group one year and, I met you then. I know it's been a while since I've talked to you, but I wanted to reach out to you and see how things are going and use 2020 as an excuse. So, I've been calling agents this week and seeing how everyone's doing and see what we can do to help them if any are in need of anything. And one of the things I'm saying is, we just got through this crazy year. How was that for you? Use that as an excuse to call, say, I'm just reaching out. I wanted to reach out and see how you're doing. How you got through this crazy year we just had? And believe it or not, people are relieved when they're getting calls from someone they haven't talked to in a while. I had a girl yesterday go, like she's virtual teaching with her child at home. She was relieved to be able to talk, to have a conversation with another adult, and so we just got to talking about how it's been and how she survived 2020. So use that as an excuse to reach out, but come from a place of, concern, come from a place of really, listen, I really want to know how you're doing. Here's what I'm doing this year. I've been newly licensed real estate agent. The market's been crazy. If you'd like information on real estate, I'd be happy to send it to you. If you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest, I would love a referral. But you fill in and plug in as much information as you can in your database. Here's another thing which is kind of spooky. You can actually take their Facebook URL, copy it, and stick it in your command and under their contact. I just learned that yesterday, and it's kind of spooky because when you set it up that way, you're actually smart plans are actually kind of stalking them, so to speak. Your stuff they start seeing your things. This is a trick that I had no idea could be done. So I'm going to look more into this and kind of figure out how this works.
So is your smart plan mimicking that, or is that part of your plan?
So
Communicate with
KW and Facebook have a relationship. So when we run our Facebook ads, we run it through command rather than going straight into Facebook to run the ads. It's a little less expensive. But when you copy and paste their URL and you run ads, they're going to get that ad for sure. If anybody else, but if you copy their URL, put it in your contacts for them, and you start running ads, they're going to get it because you have their URL. So, which it's like Big Brother, but it's out there, so might as well utilize it. So, okay, so where were we? Okay. So like I said, when you call them and say, I'm updating my database, I do this once a year. You can tell them, you need their address, but you want to clarify too. Say, hey, I'm calling, I noticed I don't have your address. You want not just their email address, but their physical address. Because if you get to the point where you are doing birthday notes, you want to have their physical address so you can send it to them. If you're sending congratulations on the new baby, I'm going to encourage you guys. I'm a huge proponent of getting personal mail. A lot of times we don't have time for that. I get it. And everything's done more or less electronically, but it just seems so less personal to me. I mean, people do it. We all do it. Hey, congratulations. Hey, happy birthday, what have you. But this year that's one of my missions this year is to actually send out handwritten birthday cards. And I don't know if you guys know, but here at the office, Leverage Plus, if you give Leverage Plus the name and addresses of people that you want your mailers to go to, and you create a postcard or a flyer through Canva, or you just tell them, hey, I want to create a postcard or a flyer, they'll create it for you and they'll mail it for you. We get bulk discounts on mailers if we use Leverage Plus, rather than standing in line at the post office, like, here's my, my postcards, having to put the stamp on it. They can do it all for you. So it makes it so much easier to be able to send those handwritten notes out. Sign happy birthday. If you want to do it, handwritten and hand it off to Leverage Plus, just give them your list and names and addresses, and they'll mail it out for you. So you don't have to stand in line, which is super great. So that'll help you also keep in touch with your database. So, so here's another way to reach out to your database. you can call them and say, hey, Happy New Year. I wanted to reach out to you because I wanted to find out from you who you've used that you've received great service. Is it a plumber? Is it a roofer? Is it a painter? Is there somebody that you've used in this last year that's given you great service? I want to reach out to them and get to know their business so then I can refer that to my clients whenever they're in need. And then call those vendors or call those people and say, hey, listen, Veronica with Keller Williams Realty, and I want to get to know your business. You were referred to me by, give them the name. They said they got excellent service for you. Tell me a little bit about your business. Tell me a little bit about, could you use some new clients? Because I'd love to be able to refer clients to you when they have a need. And you can cross promote. In your database, you can tag your client, your database by, this is a lead, this is a family member or friend, this is a vendor, this is another agent. So you know who these people are specifically. But if you start cross-promoting, you get some referrals. I mean, especially if you just use the same vendor over and over because they're giving you great service and you're recommending them over and over again, they're going to start recommending you as well. That's another great way to start getting business.
Question, so when you put people into your database and say initially it's someone from an open house, they become your client, do you change that tag or do you always leave them?
No, so initially you can put them in there as a lead because they're a lead at this point. And then if they convert and they become a client, you can untag them as a lead and use a different tag. So I have an assistant. So my assistant actually this week took my database and she tagged just like this. She went through the whole DTD2 and she tagged A&W, B&E. So everybody that had the last name started with A and W, she tagged them A&W. The reason she did that is so when it comes time for me to call those A&W, I just type in A&W and all the list just comes up. And then I just go through the list. B&E, I'll tag B&E or just type in the whole list comes up. So I don't have to go into, okay, here's A, now here's W. The list is there for me to start plugging away.
Is that a tag that you created?
Yeah, she created that tag. There are already generated tags in Command, but you can create your own. You can create anything you want as far as a tag, how you want to know who they are, how that would help you keep in touch with them. Create your own tags if you want, but there's lots of them there that you create. So my husband's military, so a lot of my clients are military families. There wasn't a military tag. There wasn't, and I happen to be in charge of the family organization for my husband's battalion. So I went and created, and I just said CB family because my husband's a CB. So I know that all of those people that are tagged CB family, they're part of my group. You can tag them Rotary Club. If they're a part of your part of the Rotary Club, tag Rotary Club. So those are people from your Rotary Club. You can do whatever you want that helps you to make it easier to keep in touch and know who these people are that are in your database. Because at some point, your database is going to grow and it's going to be very hard to keep up with who these people are. And it may be years since you've talked to somebody and you're like, okay, how do I know this person? And then you start Facebook stalking them and seeing who you have in common with them, To make it easier on yourself, tag them in some way of some sort so that you keep up with who they are. But you always want to if you leave a voicemail, you almost want to say, hey, I know you're really busy. I just wanted to call and catch up. I'll call you back later in the week. So they're not surprised that you're calling them. They're expecting you to call them because you said you would. And then when you do call and they do answer, say, hey, I'm calling you back as I promised. I'm just calling to see how you're doing, and just kind of, and if you can, keep your conversations to a minimum. Because if you go on and on, you'll be on the phone all day, So just keep it at a minimum, and just, how are you, and truly, want to know how they're doing. How are their kids? How was 2020? How was 2020 for you? Mine was okay. This is what I started a new venture this year, and this is what I'm doing. Because you're asking them, they want to know too. They want to know how you've been. What are you up to? But last year, when I decided that 2021, I was going to do all the birthday cards, I went through my Facebook group and I said, hey guys, I just want to get the month you were born in because I am going to make it my mission to send out happy birthday cards. There are a couple of people on there that I don't know how I know them, but they're on my Facebook, and that doesn't matter to me. I'm still going to send them a handwritten birthday card. So I got their information that I need to be able to do that. It's branding, branding, branding. You want to keep yourself top of mind. Listen, I always attribute real estate agents to Mary Kay agents. There's one in every corner. There is. But it's about connection. It's about who they feel comfortable with. They're going to do business with people that they know and they trust. They're going to remember, oh, that's that real estate agent that sent me a birthday card, you know? Or if you hear, true story, so last 6 o'clock this morning, I got a Facebook message. One of my CB families, their house burned down last night at 4 in the morning. So I got up and I'm like contacting all of my, you know, military families and saying, hey, you know, we have a CB family in need. Let's do this. Let's get together. Let's do what we have to do, you know, and there are some CB families that I looked at that and I'm like, I have not spoken to them in a long time. So I'm like, I need to call them and see how they're doing. So this morning at 6 a.m., I started getting messages. Hey, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And I'm like, you guys, I'm so sorry. I have not reached out to you guys except for, you know, when we have a need, which rightfully so. But I was pleasantly surprised at how many were like, yeah, we've been following you. I'm like, shame on me. They've been following me, but I haven't been following them and I haven't been keeping up. So I'm going to make that another one of my missions to be sure that all of my CB families are being contacted by me in some way, shape, or form, whether it be a handwritten note, whether it be a phone call, an email, some way. You've got to keep yourself in their minds at all times. Do you guys have any questions? I know I've rattled on and I've probably spoken real fast, but so here's a question for you guys. When you guys decided, hey, I'm going to become a real estate agent, where did you think that business was going to come from?
I was hoping it would just come.
Company lead, I don't know.
Contacts?
No idea.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of like, I have no idea. So, you know, I say, when a doctor sells his practice, what do you think he's really selling? He's selling his clients, it's his patients. He's not selling his equipment or the office space. He's selling his patients. That patient list is valuable. You want your database to be valuable to you. You want your database to, let's say one day you decide, hey, it's time for me to retire. And I've got X amount of people in my database and they are worth something because they consistently refer me. They look at it that way. How valuable is your database to you? Could you one day sell that database and be able to retire? You know, so it's constant. When you guys, I know it's a little challenging now, but when you guys are out and about or at the grocery store, wear your tag. Believe it or not, people love to talk about real estate. They really do. You know, I wear my tag, this is corny, you guys, but I've worn my tag upside down quite often. And people go, oh, your tag's upside down. I'm like, oh, I've been so busy out showing homes today. Thank you so much. I'm like, oh, you're real estate? I mean, it's corny, but it happens. I'm telling you, people will go, oh, your badge is upside down. And I'm like, oh, I've been so busy today. I've been out showing homes. Thank you so much. And I've had conversations because I've worn my badge upside down. I know it's cheesy, but it you know, it's just something that I learned a long time ago. And I thought, that's crazy. I'll try it. Why not? You know, people love to talk about real estate. I know we can't really door knock anymore because, you know, people are like, oh, why are you knocking on my door? Or you have a no soliciting sign. So here's another way. Your neighborhood is valuable to you guys. And I've had agents say, oh, there's three realtors in my neighborhood. So what? You know, do you see their signs all over your neighborhood? No, not really. It's who you connect with. So I have an agent right now who's farming her neighborhood and she's doing a very, very good job at it. She's not really door knocking. And I'll tell you, if you leave flyers, you will get that neighbor or the person in your neighborhood says, they will email you and says, quit leaving flyers on my door. I have that happen. You're lumping yourself in with the landscapers and the window sellers and, you know, don't do that. So I put him on my list and not leave a flyer on his door anymore. I was actually leaving a one-page newsletter for my neighborhood. And I said to him, I appreciate that. I'm so sorry. You know, that wasn't my intent. My intent was to give you some information about the community. That's what it was. I had the lady tell me when I walked up to put the newsletter on her door, the pizza guy was delivering. I'm like, perfect timing. She was at the door. I handed it to her and she said, do you see the no soliciting sign? You're not soliciting. You're not trying to sell her anything. So I said, well, actually, I'm your neighbor 5 houses down. I created this newsletter, some important, you know, about our community. She's like, okay, thank you. You know, create a one pager, find out what's going on in your community and promote it, you know, and brand it to yourself. People love to be informed. If you're providing that information, that value to them, they're going to appreciate that. So find out what's going on in your area, what's going on in your neighborhood, and create a flyer and send it out. You know, we have ways to get you, say, you know, I want to farm my neighborhood. I don't know how to find addresses. I don't know, or I'm sorry, phone numbers or names of people that live in those addresses. We have a way to provide that to you. Talk to Hunter. It's geo farming, and we can get you the names of the people who live in those homes if you want to personalize it. This year, having to take over, I have a volunteer HOA in my neighborhood. I took it over this year because the gentleman that had it has had it for 20 some odd years and he's elderly and he can't do it anymore. So I took it over. So you best believe I started getting everybody, making sure, you know, who's moved, who's the new person in that home. You just get all their information by geo farming. I pull up all that information. I send them out an email or a letter, an email that and I set myself on just to make sure everybody's getting it. And everybody's saying, hey, you know, we realize you just took over. It's great because there's so many things I want to promote. I started a Facebook page just for my neighborhood. Now, a lot of neighborhoods already have a Facebook page. If they don't, create one and then invite those people, create a group, not just a page. The reason I say create a group is because you can go in there and ask specific questions like, what street do you live on? How long have you lived in Hickory Creek? You know, just different questions that you would like them to answer so you can verify whether that person is in your neighborhood or not. Because then because there are people that go on Facebook and just join groups to join groups, which I don't understand. I really don't. I'm in a car group for my specific car, and there are people on there like, oh, I drive a Jeep. I'm like, why are you in this group? You know? So, but you want to ask specific questions so you can verify it, whether or not they're, and then post on that page information about the community. And what I'm doing now is I'm setting up 2 different garage sales, one in the spring and one in the fall. And so I have a committee now. I have some ladies that said we want to help with this. And so anybody in my neighborhood that wants to be a part of that, I'm going to put balloons on their mailboxes. I'm going to promote it to the city in our community saying we're having a community-wide garage sale. Those are little things that you can do to help you stand out in your neighborhood. And then put those people on your database and get them started on smart plans. So now they're seeing you, sending them emails on smart plans. They're seeing your information that you're sending them via a Facebook group or putting flyers on their doors. Every year, the week prior to the 4th of July, I put a little American flag in front of everybody's mailbox. Every year I do this. I've done this for the last 4 years. And every time I walk my neighborhood, I have 300 homes in my neighborhood and I walk it. And I have people say, thank you so much for doing this. I had one guy who I coincidentally met at a city event and he told me where he lived. I go, oh, I put a flag out. He goes, that's you? He goes, I keep them. He goes, I keep them every year. And then the week of the 4th of July, he uses them and he puts them out in his yard. So I do put a card and it says compliments of, and I have my little card on there. But people remember that and they like it and they appreciate it. Those are little things you can do to keep yourself top of mind in your neighborhood. And then write those addresses down for people that are telling you, thank you so much. Okay, 123 Main Street. She said, thank you so much. Go into Realist Tax, find out their name, put them in your database and start getting, find out if you can get their email addresses and put them on smart plans. You guys, I'm going to tell you a little. So I subscribe. I know this is going to be, you're going to go, oh my gosh. I subscribe to a site called Spokeo, Spokeo. It's very, very inexpensive. I think it's like 20 bucks a month. So if I have somebody's address and their name, because I went into Realist and I could get their name and their address, but I don't have their phone number, I don't have their email address. All you do is plug in the address in Spokeo and now you have their email address and you have their phone number. It's very, very inexpensive. And here's why I do that, because a lot of times I'll get a lead and they'll send me an email, but the phone number's wrong. So I'll plug in their email and now I've got their phone number. And they don't remember that they put in a 4 instead of a 5 for the last number. They did it on purpose, but they're not gonna remember, oh, did I plug in the right number or the wrong number? So when I call them, they're not surprised because they know they were on my site. So my site captures their information, but they have to plug in the phone number. And a lot of times they'll put in the wrong number because they don't want to get phone call. Why are you looking if you don't want to get phone call? But I'm going to call you. If you put your information in, enough information where I can get your phone number, I'm going to call you. they don't remember that they plugged in the wrong code. So check out Spokio if you guys want to subscribe to it. My admin was like, this spooky site is crazy because it tells you a lot. It even tells you the month that they were born.
I have a question with that. So for the Spokio, all you need is their phone number?
Or an email address if you don't have their phone
So
number.
drop one thing down there?
Just one
They'll
thing.
just kind of search whoever.
Address, you can plug an address, phone number, or email address.
Okay.
So
Does that capture people that rent in your neighborhood as well?
any address you put in is good. But if you want to get their names, my first resource is going to be Realist. Go into Realist, plug in the address, get the person, because that's what the county is putting in, is who owns that home.
But
And-
because I just know that there's investors and they rent the houses that they bought.
No, it's going to give you the property owner's name. But, and Mike brought up a good point. If you go in and you know that house is a rental, it's going to give you the property owner's name. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to go, hey, have you ever thought about selling your home? I know you have renters in your home right now, but being a landlord is a beatdown. You know, I'd love to be able to help you get this house sold, and I'd love to send you a CMA so that you know what the market is like for your home. I mean, there's so many different ways to talk to people about real estate. And who knows, that landlord will be like, you know, I'm so tired of this home, I'm ready to sell. I've had it for 20 years. I don't want to deal with it anymore. You know, there's a guy who just moved to Arizona. He's got a rental home here. And he's like, I just moved to Arizona. Do I really want to have to keep up with this home? He asked me if I would manage it. And I said, no, I don't do property management. I just don't. I don't want to deal with it. And I said to him, why don't you sell it? You know, I mean, if you moved to Arizona, you're retired. Do you really want to have to keep up with the maintenance? What if the air conditioning goes out tomorrow? Now you got to call an AC guy. And that's why I'm looking for a management company. I said, you really should consider selling it. The market's really great. He goes, let me think about that. So I'm going to call him on Friday or tomorrow, actually, because I talked to him Monday. Say, so what'd you decide? Are you going to sell it? You know, but so if it is a landlord, you know, it's a rental home, call that landlord. Don't be afraid to call and say, you never know. Now may be the time, but nobody's called them. You know, so that's another thing to do. And, you know, even if it's a landlord, put them in your database. Now you're setting up on smart plans, and one day they're going to go, you know, Mike's been sending me all these great emails. I think I'm going to call Mike and tell him I want to sell this home. You know, it's about keeping it top of mind. Everybody in your database needs to know you're a real estate agent. Before I became an agent, I worked for a hotel chain. And so everybody that I knew that they could call me to get a discount on a room anywhere in the world. Well, I had to train their brain of, yeah, no, I'm not that person anymore. Sorry, I can't give you a discount on a hotel room. But what I can do for you, so whatever industry you came from, you need to make sure the people that knew you from that industry now know you're a realtor. And you say to them, yeah, you know, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you anymore. But what I can do is help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate. You know, another thing you can do when you get into your database, you know, I'd love to talk to you about real estate sometime. Would you like to know what our market is doing? This 2020 has been a crazy year for real estate. I'd love to talk to you about that. Would you like me to send you some market stats? Just always coming from value. You're giving them something of value. So they're not going, oh, this is a sales pitch. No, you're not sales pitching them. You're coming from giving something of value. You really want to be able to provide them with information. You know, I had a friend refer me the other day. Her sister-in-law calls me. She's got two, what she calls shotgun homes. They were built back in the 20s. One's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath home. She's thinking about selling it. Her husband wants her to keep it. And I'm like, tear it down, you know. But she called me for advice. And she says, I think I'm going to sell this. And I said, well, call me when you're ready to sell it. If he decides to keep it and rent it out, which I don't think he's going to have success doing it because it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. Little 756 square foot home, you know, I just don't think he's gonna be able to rent it. So, you know, there's all sorts of ways that you can help people, even if it's just give them a CMA. Are you interested in know what your home values are right now? The market has really changed over the last year. People want to know, even if they're not interested in selling and you're providing them a CMA, they love it because they're interested. That is interesting information for them, you know? So, I mean, what do you guys have you, and he showed you 1 through 5. What do you guys think your goal is going to be for this year for your database?
My first goal is get it really set up and tagged is gonna be.
If you have not set up a meeting with Clark yet, my suggestion to you is set an appointment with Clark. You know, spend 30 minutes to an hour and have him show you how to get your database set up or tag your database. He'll show you how to do that. Also, you guys, if you think I don't have time for that, I'm gonna need to go out and get some business, Leverage Plus will do it for you too. Leverage Plus, you say, hey, I need my database organized. You tell them exactly how you want it to be organized and they'll do it all for you. Just contact Leverage Plus and they can take care of that. I mean, if you guys like, there's an agent in this office that she's brand new and oh my gosh, she's on fire. She's already had 3 transactions and she's only been licensed for a month. And now she's working on 2 more. So she really doesn't have time right now to get that database set up. So she turned it over to Leverage Plus. You know, she's like, can you do this for me? And they're taking it over and she's going and doing business. That's what's happening for you, then awesome. If you are really getting business and people are referring you or your aunts and uncles are waiting for you to get licensed and now you're licensed and they want you to help them buy property and you just don't have time for that, utilize the services that we have here in this office. That's what we're here for. The support here is phenomenal. Most of the time, you know, you guys come into this office, our doors are open. We're always available to help you with whatever it is you might need in the way of setting yourself up for success. That's what we're all about. But, you know, you got to keep in mind, how can I grow my database? One of my 1 through 5 is to increase my database by 25% this year. And a lot of it's going to be through social media marketing and, you know, getting people to really engage. If you don't already have a Facebook real estate page, I'm going to encourage you to build one. If you start taking your personal page and plugging in real estate all the time, people are going to opt out or they're going to unfollow you. If you build a Facebook business page and you have something on there that you feel is valuable and you want everybody to know, then you can share that to your personal page. So people start correlating, oh, he's a real estate agent. Invite everybody, of course, you know, to join your business page. Not everybody will, but if you start sharing things to your personal page, they'll start to correlate. Okay, you know, David's a real estate agent, and let me go like his page because you're providing them with valuable information. I keep referring to, I'm going to use her name. I keep referring to this agent. So this agent, her name is Andrea. I was sharing it with Kevin yesterday. She had posted something very, very simple. It was just verbiage. And it says, who is interested in a new home with Little Elm with $5,000 back at closing cost? So she started getting dialogue. Oh yeah, I need closing costs. We want to buy a house, but I would love to be able to get some money back at closing, you know, for closing. I'm not interested in Little Elm, but I am interested in 40. So what she did was she started calling builders and she said, what kind of incentives are you offering for buyers right now? Because they're always changing. D.R. Horton's offering a free washer and dryer, you know, so plug that in your business page and say, who's interested in buying a home in Little Elm with $5,000 back toward closing cost? That's a builder. That's a builder incentive. She's not doing anything different than advertising what the builder's telling her they're going to give her buyer, you know, but if you want to stay in a specific area, whatever area you're in, call those new builds. Find out what they're offering and put that information out there. That's valuable information for someone that's looking for a home. They had no idea. If you guys want to set yourself up with a lender partner, I know we have lenders here in the office, but find a lender that you feel comfortable with, that knows it's going to service your clients, that's going to be available for you whenever you need them. I have just an enormous admiration for my lender partner because he is available 7, 8 o'clock at night, Sundays, and he's so catering to my clients. So he and I sat down and talked about a new program, I don't know if you guys are aware of, called T-Shack. It's through the state of Texas. It's a down payment assistance grant that they don't have to pay back. It's free money. And you do have to qualify for it, but not all lenders can give them this grant or provide this grant because it's a course they have to go through. They have to pay, I forget how much money to be able to take the course and be able to offer the grant. But find a lender that has incentives they can offer your clients. It's another thing you can put up. Who's interested in free money? Who's interested in a down payment assistance grant that you don't have to pay back when buying a new home? Call me for more information or private message me for more information. And that way, when you start getting people calling or private messaging you, or like, tell me about this grant. Okay, great. Let me ask you a few questions. What area of town are you looking to buy in? Tell me a little bit about the type of home you're looking for. 1-story, 2-story, pool, no pool. What do you think your price point is going to be? All the important information you need. And say, I tell you what, I'm going to have my lender partner reach out to you. And now your lender's going to call, hey, Mr. Smith, I just got a call from Gary and he says that, you're interested in buying a home and you're interested in the G-Check program. Well, let's see if you qualify. But plug that information in there on your Facebook page. And people will go, what? What's this program he's talking about? I want more information. And you're going to have people start reaching out to you. Put those people in your database as a lead because you know they're interested in it or they wouldn't have reached out to you. So, and you're not doing anything above and beyond. You're just providing them with value information that's available to them that they probably didn't know about. There's so many things that you can do to get people to dialogue with you so that you can plug them in your database and you can start setting up on Spark plans so they can start seeing your face information every month. I've got a few other, tips and tricks that I can, give you guys. If you can, try to make it in person to our sales meetings. Our next one's on the 19th, Tuesday the 19th. We have some great things planned for this year. But Hunter can also share with you some different tips and tricks, but it's just a matter of a phone call, you guys. Calling the builder, finding what they have available that you can offer to your clients or to your database. You can send bulk emails through your database as well. If you want to send out an email saying, hey, here's a great incentive if you purchase in Little Elm with, Paul Taylor Homes. They're offering $5,000 back in closing costs. Give me a call. Let's set up an appointment and go tour. Or here's a great incentive with D.R. Horton. Who needs a free washer and dryer? D.R. Horton's offering free washer and dryers. There's just so much you can do. The information is just out there. You just have to know where to go get it, and you have to utilize what's available to you. But you want to keep in touch with your database always. If your database is so big that you're like, I'll never get through this, use the DTD2 system, and by the end of the year, you would have touched all of your database in some way, form, or fashion. It'll remind you to make a phone call. Hey, you're supposed to call your A&Ws today. Hey, you need to send a personal note to your A&Ws, whatever it is. Hey, send out a smart plan to your A&Ws. It's just a way to help it keep organized. Because if you don't organize it, it's going to get out of control. It is. And you're going to go through your database looking at like, oh my gosh, who are these people? How do I know these people? When's the last time I talked to these people? When's the last time I sent these people an email? Well, it's going to do it for you. As long as you follow the system, it's going to tell you. Send them an email, give them a call. Today's their birthday, whatever it might be. But your database is your business. It is the hub of your business. It really is. Because if you didn't have a database, then you wouldn't have business. You have to look at everybody in your database as a potential client. They're a lead in some way, form, or fashion. Whether they're part of your Rotary group, whether they're your family member, they're a lead in some way, form, or fashion because either they're going to use you one day in life or they're going to send somebody to you that needs your service. You guys out there virtually are so quiet. Am I talking too fast?
No, you're good.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
Nope.
No? Okay. Well, you guys have any questions? No.
I think this is helpful though, because I never would have thought, I like how it's not like alphabetically,
Mhm.
so then it's not like
You guys, if you did, okay, here, let me do my A's, my B's, we lose that drive. It becomes monotonous. But if we do it this way, it changes it up a little. I'll tell you, I'm calling, and they'll probably end up getting a phone call from me at some point. I'm calling everybody in the market center, all the agents. I have a list. And I really am truly wanting to know how their 2020 went. Is there anything right now today that we can do for you to help you be successful in your business? just knowing that we're here in any way, shape or form that you might need us. So I'm doing the D2DT because we have almost 400 agents in this office. So I started with the A's and the W's and I'm kind of going through it so I can get done with it by the end of the month, but it's a good system to follow. It really is. It's a foundation or a starting point, so to speak. So you don't look at your data and say, okay, how do I get started? What do I do? Plug in their birthdays, try and fill in as much information as you can. And if you have a husband and wife, they each get their own. They don't put them like, Lori and Steve Smith. They get their own contact. But there's an area in your database where you can correlate them as related. It'll say spouse and you plug in their name. So now it's in there as, okay, Lori's Steve's spouse. So it's so simple. It's just utilizing it and setting it up. There was something that I wrote down that I wanted to share. Yeah, no, we talked about the business, calling people and saying, hey, what businesses did you use last year? Another thing is you might want to say, what small business did you use last year that gave you great service? Because man, small businesses are hurting right now and they could use the business. What mom and pop organization would you recommend, that I could help and bring them business and refer to my clients? I'll tell you, my husband and I took a trip to visit my daughter. She lives out in the middle of nowhere, literally in the desert. And we had originally booked a hotel with a major hotel chain. And the day prior to arriving, we got an email from them saying, hey, we know you're arriving tomorrow, but we just want to let you know when you check in, you'll have to stay in our hotel 14 days before you can leave. We're like, whoa, wait, what? No, we're not doing that. We're only there for 7 days. So the guy was very sweet. He said, listen, we're corporate. We have to do that. But here's a mom and pop hotel just down the road. That's a very, very nice hotel that could use your business. I said, you know what? Thank you so much for doing that. That just really spoke volumes to me that this individual working for a corporation was willing to say, here's a mom and pop hotel that could really use your business. And it was such a great stay. That just really got me thinking, there are so many small businesses that really could use our help to utilize their services. So maybe you want to call your database and say, what small business did you use this year that you would recommend that gave you great service? That's another way to reach out to your database. And then start your preferred vendor list. When a client says, I'm looking for a plumber, or I'm looking for a roofer, or I'm looking for a painter, or we want to redo our kitchen. Hey, I've got a great referral for you. They're going to appreciate that. And they're going to remember, oh, that referral came from Kevin, thanks so much for that. He was great, and he gave me top-notch service. And you say to your clients or your database, people in your, I have a full list of great service people that can service you in any way. Give me a call. I have all the resources you need. So they're going to look to you as a wealth of information when they're needing to redo their kitchen or whatever it might be. They'll go, you know what? Lori knows who I can call. Let me call her. You're providing value to them.
Do you add those preferred businesses into your contact?
Yes,
businesses?
and you tag them as such. Tag them as preferred plumber, or however you want to tag them. I'll tag them as small business, so that I know. But that's another thing you can do is call and say, hey, who do you know that gave you great service? I'm looking to give back to small businesses. They really could use a hand up right now, for sure. So, but was this helpful?
Yes. Very.
If you guys want a copy of the DTD2, ask Hunter to email you a copy of it, because it's a lot easier when you have it in front of you and you start tagging your database, where to go and how to tag it. So you know how to organize it. So, but I feel like I talked and rambled. I hope I added value. I hope I gave you some really good information. I'm Veronica Warwick, and I'm usually always available. I have an office here in the office, and you guys are more than welcome to reach out to me in any way that you feel comfortable. I will help you as any way I can, as best I can. And the one thing that I always say to you guys is if you come to me with a question and I don't know the answer, I'll never say, you know what, sorry, I don't know, I can't help you. No, what I'm gonna say is, you know what, I don't know that, but I probably should, because one day I may need to know that. So let's go find the answer together so we can all be successful together. I'll never turn you away. I don't know a lot. I know some things, but there's not one transaction like the other. No matter if you've been in business 20 years or 5 years, you're always gonna learn something you've never seen before. And I have stumped a lot of agents that have been doing this a long time with some of the things that have come my way. So never be afraid to ask, because
And your name again?
Veronica Warwick, sorry. No question's a dumb question in real estate, believe me. No, and don't ever get comfortable. So referring back to Andrea, and the reason I keep referring to her is because she actually came with me here from another market center as a new agent. So she got 2 deals under her belt. She went to a virtual real estate school, which most people are doing nowadays, but they never showed her a contract. She had no idea what a contract looked like, which I was floored. So she went to fill her first contract and I helped her fill it out. She was good to go on the second one. She did really well. The third one, she called me crying. I need to get out of the business. I can't do this. I'm fooling myself. What was I thinking? I'm like, whoa, wait, let's take a step back. What'd you do? What happened? So for the option period, she put 3 days without thinking. What she meant to put where she meant to put the 3 was to turn in the option monies to the title company. You have 3 days to get the option money into title company, earnest money. So she put 3 days. So when she turned in the inspection report to the seller's agent, she's like, what are you talking about? Options up. So don't ever get comfortable. I don't care if I've been doing this 6 years and I still look at a contract over and over and over again, just to make sure everything is crossed and dotted. And in case you didn't know, next month, the contracts change. Completely changed. So James Tan, our broker, will be teaching that class. I would encourage you to be sure you are in that class, because there are some things in there that I saw a sample of what's going to change. I'm like, oh my gosh. So these are things that are going to be important to you, because that's our business, is filling out contracts. So be sure you're in that contract class, because.
When is that class?
Oh, they haven't said yet. I think the new contracts are supposed to become available sometime in February. I'm not exactly sure when, but as soon as they put that class together, they'll let everybody know, because that's going to be an important class to be a part of. You never want to get comfortable in this business. Read that contract 2, 3, 4, 5 times until you feel like, hey, I've got everything I need in there. It's all right. Let me send it to my client for signatures. Let me submit it, But this business is ever evolving. Things are always changing. If you have to practice in the mirror when you're going to call somebody before you call them, then do that. To me, scripts, they're helpful, but they sound like a script. So practice it before you call them. Add your own little, in it, so that you can be comfortable and feel comfortable. When I first became a realtor, as you can see, I like to talk. I'm not afraid of people. I won't wait to introduce myself. I'll shake hands. Well, we used to be able to shake hands. But when I first got my license and I was in a class and sat down and was looking, I was super intimidated by the thought of being a realtor. I was intimidated by everybody around me. Like, I stayed quiet for like a week or so. And I thought, if you're going to make it in this business, you need to snap out of it. I know some people are a little introverted. But at some point, you're going to go, I got this. And when you start making money and people are thankful that you're calling them for whatever reason, because you're fulfilling a need or you're coming from value, you're like, yeah, you know what, I am. I'm coming for contribution. This person needs my help. And that's why I'm calling you. So if you guys want to dabble in calling expireds, I did that for a while. I got a listing very, very, very far from here. But it was an expired listing that I decided to call on, never expecting an answer, of course. And I just called him and I said, hi, Mr. Owner, I see that your listing has expired. Are you still interested in selling your home? He said, well, I am. Well, I would love the opportunity to come out and speak to you and talk about what I can do to get your home sold. That was a script, you guys. And after he said, okay, make it fun. I hung up, I'm like, what did I just do? You know, but it was a script. It wasn't anything I made up. I read verbatim. I would like to talk to you about what I could do to get your home sold. And I got the listing. They sound scripted, but if you have confidence in your voice when you're calling them, they don't know it's a script. You know, you can add your own little touch in there. Then after I got the first one, I'm like, okay, that was easy, you know? So, you know, there's a girl on YouTube that I follow. She's a KW agent out of Ann Arbor. And she does all her calls she records them on YouTube. And you get to hear what the person's saying, what she's saying. She calls FSBOs a lot. And it's so helpful to be able to hear somebody else. And, you know, plagiarism, that's my best friend. So a lot of times I'll use her verbiage and then add my own and then practice it. And then I go, let me make these calls. You know, she's successful at it. And that's why she puts those YouTube videos out there so that you can mimic and copy from her and then add your own spiel to it. But it's so helpful to hear somebody else doing it before you do. Those are also available to you. If you go to YouTube and Google KW agents, FSBO calls, there's so many agents that put their stuff out there for you guys to utilize. So. Anything else, guys?
We'll be in to see you.
No, seriously, if you go down the hall, down there where the teams are, my door's never closed. Only time I ever close it was Clark has a class back there, or Hunter, I close this, but way I'm not disturbing the class because I'm kind of loud when I talk. And I have a lot of excitement in my voice when I talk. And my husband says, why are you yelling? I'm like, I'm not yelling. And I'm like, I'm just excited. I go, I'm just very charismatic. You know, because you're yelling at me. I go, no, I'm not yelling at you. But so I'll shut the door when there's a class so I don't disturb anybody else. I'm making my calls. But, you know, if you guys ever want to set up a time to script practice, I love that. And I'll throw some wrenches in there. One of the things I'd like to see this year is doing home tours. So I did this a couple years ago with some new agents. I set up a home tour as a preview so that I didn't excite the listing agent and think, oh, she's going to go see the house of the buyer. It's a preview. And I took a group in the home and we paired off, and someone was the buyer, someone was the agent, and then we switched. And we practiced. We practiced asking questions about the home, looking around, pointing out different things. And, you know, we went, and then I threw some wrenches as a buyer. They're like, how do I answer that? You're going to get these questions that are going to come up and you're like, I don't know how to answer that, you know? So I'm hoping that this year we could set something like that up and taking a group out and going touring homes, and then we can practice and role play being a buyer and being an agent. But I love script practicing. If you guys ever want to script practice, please, you know, don't hesitate to reach out to me, because I would love that. And, you know, like, so I have a small team and we script practice. That's mandatory. We have meetings and we do that. And one of my buyer's agents calls me a beast. He's like, man, you're a beast on the phone. I'm like, just because I love what I do, I'm very passionate. Andrea was in my office one day and I asked him that, he called me about a house and I said, be sure, this is a great question, don't forget this. When someone reaches out to you, just from wherever they may come from, you want to ask them, are you working with an agent or do you have a relationship with an agent? A lot of times they'll say, yeah, she's out of town, but we want to see 123 Main Street. Unfortunately, because you have an agent or you have a relationship with an agent, I'm not going to be able to show you that home. You'll have to wait for your agent to get back in town to show it to you. Well, she told me to go. So there are some agents that'll do that. She told me to call a listing agent. And now if I'm a listing agent, I might show up because that's my listing. I want to get it sold. But if it's not my listing, I'm like, I'm sorry, unfortunately, I won't be able to. And this guy called me, he was insistent. I said, let me explain to you how this works. If I show you this home and you like this home and you go back and tell your agent, hey, I like this home of mine to make an offer, that makes me a tour guide. I'm not a licensed tour guide, I'm a licensed realtor. I don't get paid till I sell a home. Aside from the fact that I don't want to infringe on your agent's business, that's not acceptable. It's unethical for us to do that. So
Wouldn't that make it the Karen Talks out? You can sue for that?
if I were to show the home on behalf of it,
And then they decided,
so the consumer doesn't know. They don't know the laws, they don't know the rules. But, I explained to him, I'm not a tour guide. I don't get paid till I sell or buy, help someone buy a home. So, and, he got it. He's like, oh, I just want to see this house because it's going to be gone before she gets back. More than likely, yeah, you're right. But I'm not going to be that person, so whether he calls somebody else to take him and see it, I don't know, but it won't be me because I'm not about to lose my license because of, that. So you want to be
Some people
sure.
lie about it and say they have something, but they don't want to tell you. Just want you to show them around.
So so this guy calls me and I said, do you have a relationship with an agent? He goes, no. He says, I've called a couple of agents, but I haven't gone out and seen anything and I haven't signed anything. I said, well, then your buck stops here because you don't need to call anybody else. I'm the best you're going to get. I said, I'm great at negotiating. Let's go see this home. If you like the home, we'll make a great offer and we'll, see what we can do to win that offer. But Andrea looked at me, she goes, you just told him you're the best there is. I go, well, because in my mind, I am, he doesn't know that there are a lot of things I still don't know. He doesn't need to know that. He just needs to know that I'm going to take him through. And if he likes the house, I'm going to make that offer and we're going to negotiate and we're going to hopefully win it, usually the multiple offers, but be confident in what you're doing. Be confident in the fact that you're providing a need. He has a need and you're providing the service for that need. It's just about giving. It really is. You're giving of yourself, your time, and your services. And that person's in need of that. So we're not so much selling ourselves as we are providing service, And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, that person isn't going to refer you. At closing, I have a form I ask them to fill out about how was my service? What could I have done to improve my service? What could I have done differently? And I want them to be honest. I want them to be honest. And then I ask them to go and, do an internet review. Not that I really care about the interview because I know, the service I'm providing. Right now I have a past client and it's bothering the heck out of me. It's a daughter and a mom who I sold the home to back in 2016. And I was going through my reviews and they gave me a bad review. And I'm like, I don't understand. What did I do? What did I not do? So Andrea called them because we were updating our database and she said, I would never refer her and I would never use her. I'm like, what? And I kept thinking back and thinking back. Well, her daughter then sent me an email saying that it was an investment home that had been remodeled, that I should have told them that the person that was selling the home never actually saw the home because he bought it at auction. I'm like, well, that's false because obviously he saw the home because he remodeled. So I don't know if the neighbors are filling their head, but that's what she's upset about. That she didn't know that the person that owned the home was an investor. I can't fix that, All I can do is make sure that I have all the information provided to me that I can provide to my clients. So there's nothing that is going to come back and bite me or come back to, throw a wrench in anything. Listen, this is an investment home. I don't know where he purchased the home from or whatever it might be, but have as much information as you can when you are talking to people, because that's what they want. They want information. They want to know, So,
Miss Veronica,
yes.
is the fact that the house was an investor property, is that normally like an issue that needs to be brought up to them, to your clients, or is that just a unique case?
I think this is a unique case. Honestly, you guys, it's a small home, but and I kept saying, man, this remodel, he did a good job. It was a good job. They redid the granite countertops, great floors. It was a vinyl plank. I mean, it was a great home. So I'm not really sure why that mattered, whether it was investment home. This is back in 2016. Prices were a lot different back then. I think she barely paid like $210,000, $215,000 for the home. In Rowlett, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and then, so, but I'm not sure, David, to be honest. But, going forward, now that I know what they're upset about, I will make sure that that's a piece of information. If I know, I'm going to provide. Like I said, this business is just always changing. The more information you provide your clients, the better for you and for them. And we're going to thank you for giving them great service because you were able to answer what they needed to know. Don't be afraid to run. Here's, what, when someone asks me a question I really don't know, I say to them, listen, that's a great question. And I'm not really sure. But let me get back to you because that's probably something I should know. I will find the resource. I will knock on doors here in the office like, hey, guys, does anybody know this or anybody, or on our Facebook group? I've got the client asking this question. Does anybody know this? You know, we're here for that. I'm still really stumped about that, to be honest with you, but I sure will provide that information going forward. You know, hey, it's an investor home. Let me find out if they actually, he had to have seen the home, he remodeled it, but you know, let me see how he purchased it. I don't know if that really matters if he purchased it at auction or how he purchased it. That was, I guess, something, it was important to her to have known. And shame on me for not knowing that. That's the way I have to look at it, so. But any other questions? I know we got off topic. We're supposed to be database, but I love answering questions. Anything else?
Let me ask you one question.
Yes.
When you're populating your database and it's maybe 20, 30, 40 people, how does the database reflect in here? What you've done?
The DTD2?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I understand. So,
In other words, I want to make a list. I want to say, make an A&W list.
Mhm.
Where is that done?
you do,
I do it.
yes.
Where?
You tag your contacts. Are you in command?
I'm in command, yeah.
Do you have people in your database?
Not yet. We're gonna start, my wife and I are gonna start populating.
Oh, that's perfect. So I wouldn't plug all these people in your database and then go back and do it. I would do it as you're plugging them
Oh,
in.
we will.
Yes.
That's why I want to know how that was related to the database.
So for instance, let's say you have Bob Aldridge, okay? And then you have Veronica Warwick. So when you get to Bob Aldridge, you're gonna put a tag that says A and W.
Okay.
Veronica Warwick, A and W.
Yep.
So then when it comes time for you to start doing your DT, at the top where it says search, you just type in A and W.
So it's a filter.
That, yes, that's what filter, exactly, that filter, that whole list is gonna come up.
Okay, good.
So you're starting fresh, which
Yes,
is great.
absolutely correct.
So
That's why I
I
said I want to see.
would plug in all the information you possibly can. Their birthday, their Facebook URL, their physical addresses, email addresses, all of that, as much as you can. And if you don't have that information, are you and your wife a team?
We are.
Awesome. So,
She's been here about 10 years.
oh, so she's been licensed 10 years, and you're just coming on board? Yay! And she's in command?
She isn't now. She will be.
Has she always been with this office?
Yes.
So I feel you. So I wasn't a bad command when the first one.
She didn't. She knew about command, but she had wisdom,
So I was using eEdge, which is probably what she was using.
probably.
And I loved it. I loved eEdge because it was simple. Command is a little more complex, but there's a reason for that because it does so much more than eEdge did. eEdge to me was ABCs, 1, 2, 3, plug in, you're done. And I feel like I got into this business so late in the game that I'm like, technology, not we're not friends. And I didn't want to be friends with technology, but it's a necessary evil and I had to adapt. So with command, when you start plugging in all of your information, I mean, just as much as you can filter it and make those calls at that time. Hey, I'm in real estate now. I would love to be able to, reach out, I'd love to be able to send you a handwritten note, or I'd love to put you in my database so I can send you some information on your neighborhood or what have you. You guys know we can do neighborhood snaps, right? So a lot of people, and when you plug in their address, it's going to show you their neighborhood profile. So you can actually send that so they can see the ups and downs of what the average price is in their neighborhood, what homes are selling for, how many homes have sold in the last 90 days. That will all get set up for you when you plug in. You'll see a map. And it's called Neighborhood Snap. And you can actually email it to them.
Neighborhood staff.
You can email it to them. And people love that because they're like, oh, look. And, like Miss Smith will go, hey, honey, did you know? Like homes in our neighborhood are selling for $300,000 and we bought ours 30 years ago, $80,000 for, whatever. That's great information people want to know. It's interesting. People love real estate. They want to see the market. They want to see what's going on. You know, I had a lady call me and she's like, hey, did you know the house on the streets and the guy died and his son's taken? I'm like, no, I did not. So she's like, yeah, he doesn't even know where to begin. So I went and knocked the door and hey, you know, my was gone. Hey, I live 3 houses down. I'm so sorry. He's like, yeah, we knew it was coming and you know, it's not gonna go in probate because we've already went through this with my mom, blah, blah, blah. Because I just need something. He wanted to give this house away. I'm like, oh, no, you can't do that. I know 3 houses down. I need these house values to stay up here, I'm not down here, you know, don't give this house away. So he let me help him sell it. But, you know, if you're familiar with your neighborhood or your neighbors, you know, talk to them. Do you live in an HOA?
Yes,
Is it mandatory?
yes.
So, good and bad. I used to live in a mandatory HOA before I moved to where I'm at now.
What's the downside? You just went, oh,
Okay, so I'm not from Texas. When we first moved into an HOA, we didn't have that working. I had a corner home. And back when I was a soccer mom, I had Suburban and I parked in front of my house. The way the houses were built, the driveway was very short. And when I pulled my Suburban out, I was actually in the yard of the house behind me, like the side yard. You know, so I'm like, well, I'll just park in front because I don't fit, obviously. One morning I got up and there was a ticket on my window for $25 for parking in front of my house. I'm like, oh, wow, this is, I'm like, this is crazy. I'm not paying it. So I didn't pay it. They put a lien on my home
Yes.
for $25. So until I paid that lien, I couldn't sell my house. So that's what I said. But there are some good things in HOA. They used to send out newsletters whenever they would have a community event. We had 2 pools, one at the front of the community, one in the back. They would say, we're having the Easter Bunny at the park, what have you. So I called them up and I said, I would like to have an event for pre-COVID, of course, for the community. They're like, oh, great, because they're looking for stuff to do, you know. So I had super simple, an ice cream social at the pool. Took a little table, a vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, and then put out some little bowls of like little sprinkles and, you know, and little cups, and kids came over and got their ice cream, parents came over and talked to me, gave out my information, you know, and it was great. Didn't cost hardly anything, but it got me a lot of contacts. So, yeah, that's, you know, call your HOA and say, hey, I'm a realtor in the area, I would like to provide a service to our community.
what's it?
Yeah.
I about fell over backwards. She said, yeah, she sits on the architectural committee. So I
Oh,
said,
what neighborhood are you in? Where?
2 Creeks
In,
in Richardson.
oh, you're in Richardson.
It's about 4 minutes.
Yeah. There's
Right
a,
across the street from Kennedy Creek Country Club. Right across the street.
That cute little newish neighborhood. But it's kind of new, right? Like maybe like 10 years or
It's
something.
been around 10, 12 years.
Yeah, with the restaurants and all that.
45.
Well, that's like a cute little, yeah, I like that.
It reminds me of Harry Potter.
oh, that's fine. Well, that's something to take advantage of. And
Yes.
say, hey, you know, we need to hold an event, you know,
Yes.
whatever it might be. You know, invite the Easter Bunny out to the park, or whatever it might be. But set yourself up so people will know you're there, and you can brand yourself and talk to people, hand out your card, or what have you. Do a drawing. So in December, we just did a little event. They did a small event. One of my buyer's agents, his husband is the general manager at the Cheddar Road. And he came in the office one day with these cards for free chips and queso. I'm like, oh, those are cool. He's like, yeah, you know, he let me pass them out. And I said, well, why don't you do this? I'll go to the dollar store. I'll buy 50 rolls of wrapping paper. And we created a little card and leverage plus principal. And it says, here's wrapping up this crazy year. And it says, hoping you have a great New Year, Christmas party. We had all of our information on there. And as we couldn't talk to them going in, that was the restaurant's deal with going talk to them come in, which was great. So we attached our card information and the free chicken queso. So we cross promoted with the restaurant. And we said, hey, you know, be sure when you leave, come out to the restaurant, be sure you get free roll of wrapping paper. And while you're at it, we're having a drawing for free $50. And on your return visit to Cheddar's, here's a complimentary chicken. Now they're like, oh, wow. The response was so great. We were overwhelmed with the response. Because people are walking in, oh my gosh, yeah, that's the last minute guess I need a wrap from them. I won't buy wrap, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. I needed that, or whatever, And now they're gonna come back to Cheddar's and they're gonna get their free chips and queso. They have our information, they entered our drawing, and they're going in our database. And I gave away $50 Amazon gift card. So it's little things you can do like that will people appreciate and, help get your, some more context. Have you guys heard of Pop Buys? There's a Facebook group called something Pop Buys. I'm on it. And they put out ideas all the time on doing pop buys. Hey, I'm just popping by to leave you a little gift. At the end, it works, you guys. At the end of the year, pop by results. That's what it's called. Pop by, PLP, space or dash by, BY, and then results. At the end of December, Target, Walmart, they put all these little goodies on sale, trying to get rid of them. You see all the realtors who are stocking up on these little pop by items for next year. My husband's like, again, we have a closet full of stuff. I know, but so you guys can do pop buys. So what you want to do for those of you who don't have business right now, take your A-listers and pop by your A-listers houses. If they're, they're local or in the area, and drop off a little something, for Valentine's. And on the pop by page, they'll put, here's a tagline for you. Here's a great pop by gift, and here's the tagline to go with it. It's all done for you. Like these people are sharing, which is great. So there's tons of little, like someone bought these scratchers, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, I need a tagline. And so people started giving her tagline ideas because she's gonna, if you're itching to sell your house or, whatever, contact, really.
Why not?
So those are a great way to, again, keep you top of mind for people that are in your database. They're like, oh, this is great. Some agents are super like every month. I can't do it every month. I'll do every quarter, but I can't do it every month. I just got business going on. I can't, I've got to do business too, but it's a great way, again, to keep in contact with your A-listers and until you start generating business. And then when you start generating business, you want to do pop buys for your past clients. I do a home anniversary. In my database, when I have a closing, I go in and I tag the month and the date that the house closed. On the 1 year anniversary, I go to Party City and I buy 2 balloons. One says happy anniversary and one says welcome home. Welcome home goes on the mailbox, happy anniversary goes on their doorknob with a little card that says, it's been a year since you've lived in your home. I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of those great memories I know you have had. And they remember that. Sometimes I do a little one chime. It's a little, $2 one chime from the dollar store. Because they can hang up, on the patio. But the little thing, people remember those things. But I do that every time I'm closing. The next year, they're getting a gift. Something small, but it's something. So there's tons and tons of ways for you to be able to keep in touch with your database. Be looking at the calendar and go, okay, I want to do a pop line for my A-listers. Do I want to do it in February or do I want to do it in March? We have St. Patrick's Day in March. There's tons of little taglines you can find on these pop by results. People, you can go find the little candies that are like gold coins, and use that and find a tagline for pot of gold or what have you, just so many different things. But you want to start now. You want to start getting people to remember you. So, and we were friends with the firefighters, and he didn't know I was a real estate agent. I'm like, no. He sold his home with somebody else. I'm like, you just sold your home. Oh my God, why don't you find this? I didn't know he was an agent. I go, do you know that? He goes, no, I just found it. I'm like, that's even worse. But I did have a really close friend of mine that decided they wanted to sell with somebody else because they didn't want to use me because I was their friend. I said, who better to negotiate for you than your friend? Like, I'm going to fight for you. you know? People don't get it. But I think if I had stayed really top of mind, that wouldn't have been a question. You know, so be sure your A-listers first and make sure they're in your database. Make sure you have them set up and maybe start doing some pop-ups to your A-listers. Go to the dollar store. There's lots of fun things at the dollar store that you can get. You know, I mean, I know starting out new as a new agent, you don't have a lot of money to spend. But I'm telling you, the dollar store is like, oh, the Target dollar bin area, treasure trove. You know, of little things you can do, just different ideas. But yeah, go into your database and take those top people in your database and start plugging in them first, because they may know somebody that's ready to buy. And they'll recommend you because of your A-listers. They're going to recommend you. Anything else, you guys? Questions? No. I'm gonna plug Culture Committee on here because that's my thing. So, Culture Committee this year has some really great things planned. So one of our big event is Red Day. So if you guys aren't familiar with Red Day, it's a day that every KW Market Center nationwide closes their doors. We don't do any real estate. And we pick an organization that we want to get back to. Last year, because of COVID, they didn't do anything. But years past, we find an organization, we physically go to that organization, whether it be trimming the weeds, painting, you know, the side of the home, or providing lunch for the homeless, whatever it might be. That's something that we do. We find something to do. So this year we have chosen an organization called Bozeman's Farm. They are in the Bishop Arts area of Oak Cliff. They are a working farm. They provide fruits and vegetables to families that are in need of food. And so we're going to be partnering up with them this year. That's our A plan. The reason I say A plan, because if we have to go to plan B because of COVID, then we have a plan B. But our A plan is to go there on Red Day together collectively as a group, and we'll have shirts at the Tuesday sales meeting to sell, because we all wear red shirts, so we know we're coming as a group. And we're going to work the farm, whatever they might need us to do, whether it's picking corn or it's, you know, just shoveling hay, whatever it might be. We're going to work the farm. We're going to help them. Maybe it's distribute food to the families that come to get the food. But that's what we're going to do this year for Red Day. Plan B is, if we can't actually gather for whatever reason, we are going to bring a truck in our big parking lot back here. We're going to have a food drive. And we're going to donate the food drive locally here to a local organization within Richardson. But we want to give back as much to our community as we can. Another thing that we're doing in August, which I'm super excited about, it's called Stuff a Bus. The Richardson ISD is going to bring a school bus and park it in our parking lot. And we're going to collect school supplies for those children that are in need of school supplies. We're actually going to challenge our sister office, which is the Capel office, to do the same. So whichever office stuffs the most in their bus, then we're going to have like, you know, they're going to win an outing somewhere. We're going to do something for, you know, for that market center. So they'll do something for us if we win, and then we'll do something for them. So be looking for that in August for Stuff a Bus. So in February, we're having, because you know, sometimes people forget it's Valentine's Day and you run out and get a gift. So we're going to cross promote with some of the local businesses that will, especially small businesses that want to advertise their products and collect gift bags or gift baskets that we can auction off here at the Market Center, even virtually. The monies that we earn from that, part of it is going to go to the Bozeman's Farm. The other part is going to go to KW Central Cares. So if you guys aren't familiar with KW Central Cares, it's an organization in our Market Center that should any agent in this office, for whatever reason, need help, we are there to help them. We have the funds to do that. I know one year this office actually paid for a casket or a funeral for one of the agents. I'm not sure if it was a family member, but so part of the money is to go to KW Central Cares, which is an organization for us, the agents. and the other part goes to Bozeman's Farm. We also, of course, have KW Cares, which, you can then contribute to KW Cares from your CD or your closings. What I do with that usually is when I have a closing, I'll take my CD and I'll divide it between KW Cares and KW Central and donate. So what some of the other things. So on Wednesdays, it's when the weather starts to really get a little better, every Wednesday at 11:30, if you're here in the office, even if you're not here in the office, we want to encourage you to come here. We're going to leave the office and we're going to walk the parking lot. We're calling it Walk the Walk, Talk the Talk Wednesdays at 11:30. And we want everyone to partner with somebody they may not know and get to know your fellow agent, get to know your KW Central family, and we're just going to shake it off and clear our minds and walk the parking lot and talk. And even if the weather's bad, we may walk in here inside the market center or on the building, but that's something we're going to start doing on Wednesdays. It's part of culture. Any suggestions you guys have that you would like to see happen? Please let me know. I am more than happy to implement anything that is in the way of culture. Culture is really about agents giving back to agents. If you guys are ever interested in teaching a class, please do. One way to learn something is to teach it. So we encourage you guys to, at some point, you can get to, hey, I think I want to teach this class. Hey, yes, by all means, let's get it on the calendar. So we have some great things planned coming up this year that we're really excited about. We're really excited about coming back together at some point and, kind of leaning on each other for whatever we might need, So, but you're more than welcome to reach out to me for whatever it is, ideas, questions. I love to help. I really do. So, you guys have anything for me? Virtuals? No? All right, well, I hope I've helped you guys. I hope I've been informative and given you guys some basis on how to develop your database. I would take that 135 and I would put database on my 135. And I would plug in a number on where you think you want your database to be this quarter. At the end of this quarter, where do you want your database to be? And what do you need to do to make that happen? So, and set goals, not just yearly, monthly, but daily, weekly goals. That was hard for me at first because I just wasn't a goal setter. Like if it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't. That's the way I look at it. I was just like, man, I would say it is what it is. It's black or it's white, and there's no in between. I was like, he goes, it's not that way. That's not like that. But that's not my bubble. So I finally had to come out of my bubble and set those goals. But I always had the mindset, if it happens, it happens, or it doesn't, it doesn't. But then when I set a really big goal for myself, which I've never done in my life, and it happened, I was like, okay, I think I like this goal thing after all, So I started setting goals, and I try real hard. I try real hard to reward myself, as I call it. I don't usually do that. I don't usually reward myself or do things for myself. I just like to do things for others. So anything else? Has anybody thought when I get in real estate? Okay, so let me ask you this stuff. Let me ask you a different. Why did you decide to become a real estate agent? Anybody want to tell me why they decided to become a real estate agent?
There was a pandemic that caused my particular career to go out of business. So it seemed like a good time to switch up.
That's okay. I get that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So the number one answer I get, because I used to go speak at Champions when we were allowed to go there. The number one answer I would get was money. I'm like, no, money's not why you got into real estate. They're like, yes, it is. I'm like, no, it's not. It's what are you gonna do with that money? That's why you got into real estate. That's your big why. And my why has changed over the years. Why did you get into real estate? I want to be debt free. I want to send my kid to college. Like I said, my why has changed over the years. One of them was I wanted to send my daughter to college. We had 3 kids. The older 2 decided they didn't like college and they didn't want to go. My youngest was all about it. So I'm like, okay, I need to figure out a way to get her to college. So that was one of my whys. So she's done with that. So then of course, your why changes. You want to be debt free, or you want to pay off this bill, whatever it might be. Make that your big rock. Your big rock is that eye on the prize in front of you. Keep your eye on the prize, you know, and just be looking to that. So my husband being in the service, he deployed a lot. And when he was gone, I would stay at the office till 10 o'clock at night because I had nothing else to do. My daughter was off to college. It was just me. So I would stay and I would get things done. I would send out emails. Of course, you know, people were answering their phones at 6, 7 o'clock because they had gotten home from work and now they can talk. And that was great. I was like, oh, this is great. People are answering phones. So I would get, you know, catching up on stuff. Then I decided, okay, what's my big rock this year while my husband's gone? He was gone for a year. I really wanted a new car, which car's a car's a car. It's the way I used to look at it. Like, I really want a new car. So I printed a picture of the car and I taped it to my desk. And I would look at that every day. And I had a date of when I wanted to buy that car by. You know, never thinking it would actually happen. So my husband gets back from deployment. And I'm like, hey, this is my goal for this year. And I'm super driven and passionate. I'm excited. And he's like, oh my gosh, what the heck have you been dreaming? You know? And then, you know, I looked at, the date came and I looked at my account and I said to him, I can buy it if I want. I'm like, that was my goal. He goes, well, if you want to get it, if that was your goal. I'm like, no, I don't know, because I just don't do that. I just don't. I said, all right. He goes, so my husband says, we're going. We're going to go do that. So I said, okay. So we went down, we did it. And I bought this car and I'm like, okay, now what? You know, because it's just not, you know, I did it and I was like, okay, I did it, yay. You know, I'm not the pat on the back, hoorah kind of girl. I just not. I don't do things for the cheer. I always, you know, did things for others. Like one year he was deployed and there was an old 1977 Firebird Camaro that he'd been looking at that he wanted to buy. And I'm like, it was primer. I was like, ooh, why do you want to buy that? You know? So while he was gone on deployment, I actually bought it for him. So when he came home, he had it, you know? So, but it's been sitting, not moving. He hasn't had time to work on it. And so I want to put it in car shows if he ever gets it running. So I said, okay. So for Christmas, I said, okay, I've got to save up enough money to buy him an engine. That's going to be his Christmas present because if I have to help him get it going, then I'm going to get it going. So I bought him an engine for Christmas, brand new crate motor. Had no idea what I was doing. I'm a girl. So I reached out to all his friends. I'm like, how do I buy? Where do I go? What do I do? How do I, you know, they're like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I think he said LS43. I don't know, you know. So one of his friends told me where to go and he got me in contact with who to buy from. It arrives in a semi on a jack thing or whatever you call it, jack thing on a pallet. They stuck it under the carport next to the car. And I told him he was home. I said, you cannot come outside. And I asked the guy, I'm like, how is this being delivered? He said, oh, I'm in a truck. And I figured just like a van or something. It was a semi. So I covered it. I took the car cover off the car and put it around the box. And so when he opened it, and I had no idea what I was buying, you know, he's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh no, I bought the wrong thing. It's like a plug and play. It's a plug it in and all he has to do is buy the transmission and the computer. I think that's what he said. So he just has to plug it in and it's like, and it's 495 horsepower and like whatever that means, you know, so I'm like, great. So we can just get in it and go now. He's like, well, not that simple. So he came home yesterday with a thingy to pull the old one out, like a crane thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always.
Yeah, there you go. And so I'm like, yes, he's finally it. So I'm like, okay, now what am I gonna do for 2021? I guess I need to set another goal. So, you know, it's fun. It's fun to have your big rock and look at it, you know, visualize it and, you know, work towards that. You know, it's fun. And, you know, and like my team goal this year, 2020, was to close 45 deals. We're 13 short. I'm not upset about that. You know, 2019 closed 26. So we've been okay, you know, but that was a goal. We shot for it. We tried real hard. This year our goal is 50. So, you know, we'll see how that goes, but it's fun to be able to know there is a reward at the end of the rainbow. You know, it's just working toward it. And how do I build toward that? And what do I need to do to make that happen? And again, people in your database are going to help you make that happen. That's what they're there for. You know, and you're there to help them with a need. So, they all close. And I'll tell you my story. Sorry, I got on my little story box. I didn't mean to do that. But that's all I got, you guys. Did your wife have an office here?
No, she does not. She took over the office at the house.
Now, do you have a team name?
We do. It's Matthews Patel.
Matthews Patel.
Patel.
BA or PA?
BITTEL.
Matthews Patel group or team?
Team. Just named it yesterday.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. Now, are you doing any social media marketing?
Explain social media marketing.
Facebook.
Facebook, not yet. I don't know how to do that,
Oh, awesome.
but that's one of the things we
Create a
discussed last
business
night.
page.
Yes,
Yeah, and
that's,
away from your personal page. And then invite everybody that wants to be invited, that wants to, accept the invite. It's challenging when you like, real estate, like, I don't want to look at that anymore. I thought you talked about real estate. I'm on Facebook to see how the kids are doing, or see how you're doing, or, keep up. Especially now that we can't really gather like we used to. This is a way for people to keep in touch. Whereas when you have that business page, if they're saying yes to your invite, they want to know. They want your information. So, it just makes life.
I'll come see you about a business page.
Okay.
I will. I'll even rent her. With me.
Oh, you're gonna bring her with you?
Sure.
Awesome. Anybody got anything? Our virtual classmates? No? Okay. I really hope I see you guys sometime around the office. I hope you guys get plugged in to some of the things we have that are up and coming this year. This is such a great market center. We don't want anybody to ever think that, you don't have what you need to be successful, because we definitely want to help you get there. I talked to 2 agents yesterday that I felt so bad because they're struggling and they had to reach out and let us know. We don't know unless you let us know. And, what can we do to help you? We want to be that resource for you for whatever you need in business. So, and I love coaching and teaching and mentoring and,
Thank you.
You're so very welcome. So very welcome. All right, and don't forget to lead gen, you guys. Be sure you're always lead genning. Lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. So I'll tell you a little tip. So people say 9 to 11 is when you should lead gen. So 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get a call, or you're not going to get someone picking up because they're at work. 9 to 11, they're at work, even if they're working from home. If you call them right after lunch, they got everything they needed to get done in the first part of the day. They walk in the office like, okay, I got this list, I got to get all this stuff done. So they got all of what they probably needed to get done the first part of the day. They've had lunch, they're comfortable now, they're like, okay, I can kind of, take it easy for a little bit. They're more likely to answer the phone after lunch. That's what I have found. Now, a lot of people who are successful calling 9 to 11 and getting people to answer, I'm just not that person. So I wait till they've had lunch, they've had time to catch up, go to all their meetings, and then, be a little more relaxed because it's toward the end of the day and all the important stuff's done.
Hey, I do have one unrelated question, if you want to take it.
Go ahead.
I think it was in the reading or on one of the mini forms that I completed to come on board, it kept mentioning green sheet multiple times. What is a green sheet?
Okay, so back in the day, we don't have green sheets anymore, so you can ignore that. A green sheet's how we used to get paid whenever you would have a closing. Now we have the opportunity. So in the opportunity, when you've got all your information plugged in for your client, you'll see where you have an area where you put in the information for the CD. The CD is a closing disclosure that Christy gets, and then she sends it to the title company, so the title company knows how much to pay. And you'll see on that CD, you'll put the home price that it's sold for, and then it'll start to calculate what you're going to be paid. And you can also in that area as well, if you decide you want to contribute something to either KW Cares or KW Central Cares, you can plug in how much you want to contribute. And then it'll tally everything up. And at the bottom, you'll see this is what you're going to get paid at closing. And that's the closing disclosure information that's going to get sent to the title company. So ignore green sheets. We don't do green sheets anymore. That's again how we used to get paid. But now it's a closing disclosure. Do you have a transaction, Edward?
I do not. It's just that was mentioned several times on one of the forms that I was signing, and I didn't know what it was.
So I would encourage you guys, to set an appointment with Clark, take a part of command that you want to know more about or you're not real sure about and say, hey, teach me this. Take one of the tabs in command. I want to know more about this. How do I do this part of command? That's what he's there for. I would set a 30-minute, 45-minute appointment with Clark and have him just kind of run through. So I just hired a new assistant and that's what we're doing. She is meeting with Clark on a weekly basis. We have a running appointment each week and she's taking each part of command and learning it from Clark. Now, there may be still some questions that come in between, but for the most part, it's just the foundation of each portion. So he's going to love you. Everybody wants to have a appointment with him. But no, that's what he's here for, you guys. And he's so quick. And don't let him talk fast. Say, whoa, go back. Show me that again. I learned by doing rather than just somebody showing me. When he sat next to me and said, hey, this isn't, he let me do it, that's the way I learned. A lot of people are doing that. Yeah. So yeah, make an appointment with Clark. And when you have your first transaction, which hopefully soon you will, Hunter can help you through that. Clark can help you through that. Any of us can do that. So. Do any of you have a transaction right now? No? You will soon. You will.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Lori, of course you do, Lori. You're not new. You've been doing this a little bit. So I'm going to point Lori out. So Lori Wright, she's been an agent for a little bit, but she decided to start fresh 2021 and take Ignite again. I've taken Ignite 4 or 5 times before I started teaching. Because it sometimes given by different teachers and you get different students with different questions. Like, I never thought of that. That's great. But it's also a refresher. And now with the contracts changing in February, so don't be afraid to take Ignite more than once. That's what, it's open to anybody. You can take as many times as you want. But it's been a while since Lori's taken it. She's like, you know what? I'm going to start fresh 2021 and I'm going to take it again, which I think is great. So I've taken.
I like your, my aha is, I'm not a tour guide. That's
yeah. I mean, you have to educate the consumer. They don't know. They think just because you're an agent, that's what you do. You just go show homes and I'll just let my agent know. And we'll make the offer without you, I'm sorry, that's not who I am. Yeah. So, and you're going to get, and this is just off topic as well, you're going to get someone you're going to go show a home to, and they're going to go, yeah, I'm going to buy the house with you, but I want you to discount your commission. A buyer. 2020, I don't know where these buyers came from, but I had a lot of that in 2020. A buyer wanted me to discount my commission. I'll buy with you, but you've got to discount your commission. Sorry, first off, I don't discount, I'm not a discount agent. But I asked this guy, he was an independent contractor and did ultrasounds for different medical centers. I said, well, what are you different? So I do ultrasounds, but I do it for different offices. And he had to pay like $45 an hour or something like that to do ultrasounds. And I said, well, what if a doctor came in and said, hey, I want you to only charge, $20 for your ultrasounds. I'll work with you, but would you discount? He goes, well, no. I go, no, because you went to school and your time is valuable and you educated yourself. Same thing for me. I said, but think about this for a minute. So 1% goes to my broker. 1% goes to feed my family. And the other % I spend on negotiating this deal for you, working your contract, doing everything I can in my power to make sure that this is the right home for you. You're going to win that all. I can't discount my commission. And he didn't use me, which is fine. I'm okay with that. You're going to have listings come up that they want you to discount. Here's the unfortunate thing for us right now in real estate. There are a lot of discount brokers that are coming out of the woodwork, a lot. There's a girl that people are just eating her up because she's offering 1% listing. And she's not a broker, she's just an agent with another brokerage. But that's killing us because people think, oh, well, she'll list it for 1%. No, she can't. But guess what? She's gonna walk over, put that sign in your yard, and she's gonna go, okay, let me take some pictures. You know, do you think your house is gonna get sold on that? No, it's not. I'm gonna have your picture professionally done. I'm gonna hold open house every weekend until this house sells. I'm gonna talk to your neighbors. People are gonna stop. I'm gonna use you. People are gonna stop and say, wait a minute. Why do you look at my neighbors? I don't want you to look at my neighbors. Your neighbors are the best word of mouth because guess what? They may have a coworker that's been wanting to move into your neighborhood for a long time. And now this house is on the market and you aren't going to invite them. Your flyers would say you're invited. You're going to invite them to this open house. You're going to take that flyer back to their coworker and say, there's a house 2 doors down that's for sale in my neighborhood. Oh my God, I've been wanting to be in your neighborhood forever. They're your best word of mouth. They may know an aunt, a cousin, somebody that also wants to be in your neighborhood. Guess what? They're going to go tell them right away. House on the street for sale. I know you want to move to the area. You know? So yeah, I'm going to talk to your neighbors. Are you okay with that? And they're like, oh, I get it. So Mike actually is a past client of mine. I sold his house in 2015. He lived in what I call, I was kind of new to Texas, what I called a very prestigious neighborhood that had its own water park, which I had never seen. Now all of the communities have their own water parks. So I was like, oh, everybody wants to live in Waterview, you know? So I did. The Friday prior to his open house, I walked his neighborhood and I actually knocked on one of his friend's doors. And she's like, oh yeah, it's my friend Mike. I know you're having the open house. So my signs directing everyone to his open house had verbiage. Some said, come this way, you're almost there, turn right here, you know. And then when you got to this house, I probably had 15 signs in the front yard. Welcome, you made it, we're glad you're here, you know. And so his friend called and goes, don't you think that he was out of town? Don't you think that's a little overkill? You have like 15 signs in the front yard. But you wouldn't believe how many people come and go, that's cute. I like it, you know, that it brought attention. You know, don't be afraid to come out of the box, you know, but talk to the neighbors when you're gonna sell a listing and you tell the listing, the seller, listen, Mr. Seller, I'm gonna put every effort I can into getting your house sold for the highest possible price. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to talk to your neighbors. I'm gonna advertise it to my community. I'm gonna advertise it on 200 different websites. Did you know that KW won't plug in a listing in our MLS? It not only goes out to Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, all those, Arabia, but it goes out to over 200 different, goes out to homes.com, it goes out to a ton of the websites. You tell them we're gonna listen to, we have an affiliation with over 200 websites that your listings have gone to. So something I was doing in 2019 heavily and started doing that in 20 until we touched it down, is I'm marketing to other states. We have been inundated with people from all over, not just West Coast, not just California. I have people moving in from Michigan, Missouri, Illinois, everywhere. So I started going to Facebook groups in other states, real estate pages, saying, hey, I got this great home in West Dallas, Texas. You know, I got this great home in a great suburban community just outside of Dallas. You know, country living, whatever, you know, the description of the houses. I started advertising it outside of our DFW market for those buyers that have been looking out to move out this way. So you tell that listing agent, no, I'm not just doing my commission. I am going to get your house sold in the fastest way possible for the highest possible price. And here's how I'm going to do it. Professional pictures should be taken. We're going to hold open houses every weekend to get sold. I'm advertising to outside of DFW because we have a lot of buyers living in the area that don't live in Texas. And the thing that kind of stunned me was like, how is everybody up and moving in the middle of, you know, everywhere? Well, because their kids are doing virtual learning from the backseat of the car. They don't have to wait till May, June, or July when school lets out. School's out, kind of. But, you know, they're moving to Texas. They got their station wagon full of stuff and their kids doing school in the backseat. You know, so it made it a lot easier for people to start transitioning out of areas. Washington. Oh my God, I didn't even phone calls I got from Washington too. I had a father calling me, looking for a home for his daughter. I had to get around to it. You know, so if you have friends or family, and people, coworkers that you know that live in other parts of the US, and you have a listing, or share one of the listings here in our market center. Any listing that an agent has in this market center, you are welcome to use. You're welcome to share it. Advertise it and brand yourself on it. So if you have friends and family that live in other states, send them, you know anybody looking to move to Texas, there's a great house. Will you share those? Do you know anybody? Start sending it out. Put those listings on your Facebook page. Mackenzie always puts, hey, here's a great listing got this week from agents in our office. Take one of those listings, brand it to yourself. Because let me just tell you, the market center's not gonna be any more happier when they see there's a listing from an agent in our office, here's a buyer from an agent in our office. Win-win for the market center, you know? Both agents are in this office, and that means more money for the market center. That agent in this office, they want that house to get sold. Who better to sell it to than one of us? You know, we have a buyer. If I have a listing, I'm gonna share it. My new guys take this listing and share away because I want to get it sold. I would love to work with one of you guys, you know? So you would say, I don't have any listings right now. I don't have any business. We've got, I can't tell you how many listings in this office alone that you can use and advertise. You know, and just brand it to yourself. No one knows it's not your listing. But if they see this house, they're like, oh, I really like that house. Can you set up a phone for us to go see? Absolutely, let's go. You know? So send it out in your database. You know, email and say, who do you know that's looking for a great home in Richardson? Who do you know that wants to move to DFW? Here's a great home in Richardson. Whatever, but email it to your database. Put it on your Facebook page. Before we used to have to ask for permission, like, and there were some agents who are like, no, I don't want you advertising my house. I'm like, I'm trying to get it sold for you. Why would you want me to advertise it? That doesn't make any sense. We don't have to do that anymore. We can share it. And believe me, we appreciate that. We want to get it sold because we want to do a service to our clients. We want you to be able to service your clients, and it's a win all around. So. Does that make sense? I mean, if you have a friend who's an agent in another market center or another brokerage, you know, ask them. I mean, if they're an outside brokerage, you know, hey, look, it's an outside brokerage, but, you know, I'd love to be able to find a buyer for your house. Can I advertise it? Can I put it on my Facebook page? If you're friends with them, they'll probably say, yeah, because they want to get it sold. We would rather, you know, sell some of ours, but, you know, if you know somebody, why not? You can't just go and take somebody's listing off MLS. That you can't do, you know, because you're likely to get someone said, I didn't give you permission to advertise that. You didn't ask or what have you, you know. But you could be safe to take one that's from this market center without having to worry. But don't just take one off MLS. Any questions about farming in your neighborhood or anything at all? No.
Is there a whole listing of all the properties that's listed in this particular one?
So Mackenzie usually plugs them in. So talk to Mackenzie and ask her where you can get a list of those listings. Even if you just get the address.
Ads and stuff, you can also use some of those listings put on there. So we have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, or if you get the address, because it's on our Facebook page, I know she posts them every week.
Oh.
If you get the address, look to see who the agent is. And just, you know, hey, I just want to let you know, great house. I'm going to advertise it. I think I may be able to find a buyer. You know, whatever. Or I'd love to be able to find a buyer for you. You know? And they're going to say, share away. Of course, advertise it. And be sure you're asking to do open houses. You know, lots of agents in this office, or you know, would love to have open houses done every weekend if they could. A lot of times we can't, so we'll ask other agents if they want to hold open house. If you get the opportunity to take the showing assistant certification course, please do. So what that course is, a lot of times, let's say I have an appointment at 3 o'clock. And I have another person that wants to see another house across town at 3 o'clock. I can't be in 2 places at one time. So I'll go to our app and hit showing assistant. And I'll call those showing assistants. And I'll say, can you show them for me in Denton at 3 o'clock? They may not be able to. Then you go to the next one until you find somebody that can. You get paid. We pay you guys to go, all you have to do is open a door. And the reason you take the course is so that you can learn what to say and what not to say. Because there are things that they're going to ask you that you really shouldn't be answering, especially as a new agent, or because I have a relationship with them that maybe you don't know about or understand or whatever. So a lot of times what we'll say is, you know what, that's a great question. Let me let Veronica know that you would like to know that information. I'm going to tell you guys, one of the things never to say is the word safe, quiet, or even good. People will ask you, is this a safe neighborhood? You know what? You can go to the city website and look up, the crime report. I really don't have that information. Is this a quiet area? Yeah, it seems pretty quiet. They move into this house and their neighbor next door is having a big blowout party. You said it was quiet. You said it was safe. Don't ever answer that question. It's like, you know what? I'm not real sure. If there's a neighbor outside and you're showing home, neighbors tell you all sorts of things. Stay away from the neighbors. Stay away from the neighbors because they may not have good things to say. You don't want to know what the neighbors know, or you want to know what they have to say, because that could hurt your sale. You may have a disgruntled neighbor. You may have a neighbor that's saying, "Oh, it's a great hair. I love this place." You just don't know. But it's better to stay away from the neighbors and not ask questions, because you just never know what's going to come out of their mouth. Being good or bad. But yeah, take the showing assistant certification course so you can put yourself in the loop. So that way, when an agent needs someone to go show a home for them, all you do is show up at the appointment, open the door, let them in, let them look around the house, and then give the agent feedback. Hey, they really like this house. They're talking about maybe wanting to make an offer. If you show them more than one house, they liked house number 2. These were their questions. These were, they might want to make an offer. Just give feedback to the agent after you've showed for them. And like I said, an agent will pay you. It's a way to make a little extra money while you're going through this whole process.
What course is this?
The showing assistant certification. So, and it gives you practice on opening doors and, showing home.
And where can that be found at?
So we teach that here at the Market Center. So be looking for that on the calendar. So when it comes up, you can go ahead and sign up to come. If you guys ever want to shadow someone that's doing an open house, put it out there on our Facebook page. I would love to shadow somebody doing an open house. If you want to do the previewing of homes, let Hunter know. Say, let's set this up. Let's do a home tour. Let's preview a home. We can do one here in the area, and let's role play. That's another great way. Become your neighborhood expert. Know things about your neighborhood, know things about your community. That way you can use that when you're advertising. When I was putting out my newsletter in my community, the mayor race was going on. The mayoral race was going on. So all I did was plug in who's running, when early voting was, when, what the deadline was. And it was just informational. It wasn't so all, really say that. At the bottom, I had all of my information at the very bottom. But that was not my mindset, was to plug myself. It was to be informative, give them information, and just coming from contribution. So I also asked people, hey, I'm putting together a recipe box. Would you like to share your best recipes with me? That's another way you can call your contacts and say, hey, I'm putting together a recipe box. Do you have a great recipe you'd like to share? I'd love to be able to share this recipe with my clients, or, whatever. But that's another way to call your database. That's what I put in my newsletter. If you have a recipe you'd like to share it with us. I just started my neighborhood Facebook group, and I just had a lady say, well, this is just like neighborhood. I'm like, it's not, because what you see on neighborhood are neighborhoods around us. Aside from ours, you can see everybody else's business. This is just for our neighborhood, our area. That's it. and you have to live in my neighborhood. And I go into real estate, I verify, yep, she lives in my neighborhood. So, besides them asking the questions, I still verify. So, but I'm doing movie night in my neighborhood. They can bring their own fold-out chair. I have a portable screen and a portable projector, and it's family-friendly movie. There's an area which is really odd. There's a house and there's big wide open space, and then there's another house. I'm like, why is that there? There needs to be a house there. And I told the guy that was in that house that, Alex, this is a perfect spot for a house. He goes, you be quiet. But I'm like, this is a great spot for movie night. So I'm inviting everybody to come out to movie night and bring our fold-out chairs and show us a movie. So if you guys have an area, community center or something that you can sponsor a movie night. Oh, speaking of sponsored, I'm going to ramble, you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So there's a senior assisted living center in Richardson here. When they first opened, they're new. When they first opened, they came in and brought materials about the center. I'm like, ooh, give me that. I'm going to call them. So I called the community director there. And I said, I'm going to host an event. He's like, oh yeah, please do. Because the activities directors are looking for things for them to do. So I'm going to host an event. He said, okay, please do. Let's talk about it. And then COVID hit. I'm like, oh. So I thought an ice cream social. They come in and fill their little ice cream cups or whatever. Movie night with popcorn, like all these different events I want to do. So if they start to see me there all the time and they get to know me, know my face, they may refer me. Maybe they're moving into the assisted living center, but they haven't sold their house yet, whatever. So look for things like that, assisted living centers. These people over time, now there's all these new senior communities. You have to be 55 or above to live in a senior community. And they too have activities. Host a bingo night, something. But host it so that people will start to get to know you. And they're like, oh yeah, here comes Kevin, he's gonna host bingo tonight. And, they love that. For Christmas, talk with the band directors at the high schools. They're always looking for community service hours. Talk to the high school, say, hey, Mr. Orchestra Director or Mr. Band Director, could I get a quartet to come play at this senior community one night for Christmas? They're all about that. They're all about that. And you're sponsoring it. That's the key here, is that you are putting it on for them and they appreciate it. And they'll remember you. I mean, lots and lots of things you can do. So I don't remember we're all database, but I'm going on and on about this. So
It's all good.
So anything else from me?
How do you use that information?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's like a fire hose. I know, it's a lot. And you can't do everything at one time. So make sure you let me know where you're coming to my office, because my desk is like, no joke.
I will call you first.
I mean, I have a squirrel mentality that I'm trying to control.
That guy's working for you that way.
And I'm trying to, so I'm time block, you guys. See, here we go, time block. Time block is going to be essential, and set it up by color codes. For me, if I'm showing a home, if I'm going to a closing, if I'm going to a listing presentation, that's green. That time block dot or line, that's green, because that's money. I'm going on a money-making event, a listing presentation, I'm showing a home, whatever it might be, that's money. So always use money when it comes to real estate transactions. If there's a KW meeting or I'm teaching a KW class, it's red, because KW red, of course. For personal stuff, I do peach. I've got a dentist appointment or eye doctor appointment, whatever. Time block your lunch. But here's why you need a time block, because in years past, before I was time blocking, I had double booked myself. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I had already had an appointment. Here I am I'm in Allen and they want to see a home in Warney. I'm like, that's happened before. So time block yourself and time block your lunch. People don't have to know you're at lunch. People don't have to know that you're, with your kid at the Arboretum on the school function. They don't have to know. What you say to them is when they call you and say, hey, I want to see a house at 2 o'clock. You know what? I already have an appointment at 2. How's 3 for you? How's 4 for you? You look at your calendar, whatever time you think that you're available to service them, that's your time. You have to teach people how to treat you. You time block your lunch so you're not interrupted. You guys have to take a lunch. Listen, I don't practice what I preach, but you need to, because you need time for yourself sometimes, just to get out of your desk and walk around. These guys in here, I know I've already had them because I'm on my desk doing my thing or making a phone like, oh, I gotta ask them. But, you know, ask him, I'm not joking when I said, ask Kevin. Kevin was like, and funny thing is he hears me coming, even though his back's turned to me, he hears me coming. I'm like, how do you know I'm here? But time block yourself so that way you have time for yourself or whatever it is you have to do and you're not double booking yourself. When I say you need to teach people how to treat you, you will get phone calls at 8 o'clock at night and people think that's okay. I'm like, do you call your doctor at 8 o'clock at night? I mean, you know, I had an attorney one year. She said, I'm available at 6 a.m. or 11 p.m. Which one's good for you? I'm like, neither. What do you mean which one's good for me? Neither of those are good for me. How do I work this, you know? And I just said to her, well, I usually get in the office at 9. I take my lunch at 11:30 and I'm back by 1. Anytime in between that, I'll be happy to make an appointment. You just have to, you know, you have to dictate your schedule to them. But time blocking helps so much because it's going to save you from overlapping yourself and having to make song and dance about why you're not in 40 when you're in that one. You know? So be sure you do that. So I know I've covered a lot. Yeah, my desk is like this. I'm trying to navigate. It's hard sometimes, but it makes me feel productive, even though it's productive chaos. It makes me feel productive at this time. And I'll be on the doing this and I'll look over. Oh, I'm like, okay, now stop, finish this, and then shiny objects. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. If I stand here any longer, I'll keep going. Is there anything in particular that you guys are wondering about or need more information on or need more help with? Just any one thing? How many of you are readers? Would you say you're readers? One of my goals this year is to read. So if you haven't read the MREA, I would recommend that. But the one book that I really, really like right now, or I should say that I've read that I really like, that I would recommend is The One Thing. Man, such clarity. It's for 2021, choosing the one thing that you want to focus on that is going to help you to be successful in your business. Take that one thing that you think you really want to become proficient on, that's going to help you to really hone in on your business. That's a great book. It's written by Jay Papasan. I'm a huge Jay Papasan fan. I fangirled him one year at family reunion in New Orleans, and it was embarrassing, but I don't care. So, you know, family reunion is coming up next month. If you guys haven't already bought your ticket to go, I would encourage you to do that. Here's how that works. Usually we're in person and it travels. We're supposed to be in Vegas this year. We're here. So what you do is they have different breakout sessions and you choose the breakout sessions that are geared towards what you want to get better at in your business. And you learn from the best. You learn from people that have been with KW for many, many years and are super successful in their business. So I would encourage you guys, it's $109 versus the $800 that it usually is, plus your plane ticket, plus your hotel when we travel. I was telling you guys, Jay Papasan, we were in New Orleans one year, and KW does it right, guys. They provide really nice buses that picks you up at your different hotels and drives you to the convention center and drops you off. And they run every 30 minutes. So if you need to go back to your hotel for any reason, it's available. So we get on the bus, and Wendy Papasan is his wife, and she's extraordinary. And Jay Papasan walks in and sits down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had that book so you could sign it. So I stood up and said, can I get a picture? And so he thought I wanted a picture with Wendy, which I had a picture with Wendy because she taught at one of the market centers and I went to that class. He goes, you want to take a picture with Wendy? I go, no, I want to take a picture with you. And I was like, oh, sorry, because he's super handsome. And so I feel myself getting flushed and he's like, oh, okay. And when he's like, I'll take it. I'm like, but I got my picture and I'm glad. So I'm going to start my wall of fame in my office. So I have Scott Leroy, I have Jay Papasan, I have Dick Dillingham. Who else do I have? Aaron Kaufman. So I have quite a few. Oh, and Smokey Garrett. I have quite a few. The creme de la creme, of course, is Gary. Smokey Garrett said he could make that happen, so I'm going to hold him to it. So, and you remember when you said, so, but I would read the one thing. It really is a great book. It really is. It puts a lot of stuff in perspective, and you've got to be super disciplined and super committed. Discipline's hard sometimes, when you have the outside world doing this, but when you start having transactions under your belt and you start putting that money in your bank account, you're like, yeah, this is good. I can do this. Your discipline, your commitment becomes a lot stronger. Right now it's getting started and all the little shiny objects are flying around. Don't ever feel like you don't know how to get started. I had a girl tell me yesterday, I don't know where to get started. And she hadn't taken Ignite. You guys, Ignite's the foundation. It's a kickstart to your business. It's not the end all be all, but it's a kickstart for sure. So don't ever feel like you don't know where to get started. You have a whole market center full of people that are going to say, sit down, let's do this.
One question. So I have a couple friends that are looking for like duplexes out there. Do you still have those or they're just kind of?
So when you go into MLS, choose multifamily.
Okay, so that's
Choose multifamily. You can either do the quick or the detail. I always do the detailed. I really don't know what the difference is. I just
that
always
is one option for.
Yeah. And then here's the thing, when you're talking to somebody, I always have pen and paper. I have tons of notes, and whenever I've got them, I put a check, so I know that I already did what I need to do for them. You want to find out whatever their criteria is, you want to know. Tell me what your criteria is for the type of home you're looking for. In this case, they want a duplex, okay? They want a duplex. Are they looking for a 2-bedroom duplex or a 3-bedroom duplex? Okay, great. What area of town are you most interested in? This is a challenge with asking what area of town. Anything 40 miles of downtown Dallas. Oh my gosh, you're gonna get that. So, and they say, North Dallas, North Dallas is broad. Can you give me a zip code? Like what zip code do you think that, specifically the area of North Dallas you want to be in? Try to hone it down and get the specific criteria for what they're looking for. Plug that into MLS. So if you just do multi-family duplex, you could get 100 some odd listings, right? So you want to be sure that you're very specific on what their needs are. What do you think your price point's going to be? Maybe 325. So I would start at 250 to 325. And then do that, yeah. And then that way, and then narrow it down as much as you can. So you're not sending, here's 100 listings to look at, and then set them up on the auto search. If you guys don't know how to set up an auto search, let me know. I'll be happy to show you. It's very easy. But when you set them up on auto search, each time a new home comes on the market that matches their criteria, first thing in the morning, they get an alert. I had a client that first thing in the morning, when she opened her eyes, she picked her phone and she looked to see if a new home, because it was such a competitive market. You got to be like speed of the lead. So she would look. What's auto search? It's an MLS.
Oh.
It's a personal portal for specifically for them. I can show you guys how to do that. It's super simple. And now they're getting not just your information, but not just the home, but all of your information to go along with it. But you want to be checking those portals because they can, which I learned the hard way, they can choose a little heart. Rather than contacting me saying, I'm interested in 123 Main Street, they're hearting them. So I had a client that hearted a home, and she was like, this is the home, this is it. And I didn't know. And then we said, I haven't heard from you. You didn't make an appointment for me to go see that home. I'm like, home? What home? What home? You know, I'm looking, I went to her portal and she put a heart next to it. I'm like, oh my gosh. So moving forward, I say to them, be sure that if you see a home that you are interested in, you let me know right away so we can set an appointment to go look at that home because homes are going so quickly. And then you want to fall into, have you spoken to a lender? 9 times out of 10, they haven't. Here's what I say to them. Listen, we need to get you set up with a lender and here's why. If we go see a home and you fall in love with this home and you can see yourself living there, and then we have to go talk to a lender and it's a Sunday, 9 times out of 10, buyer number 2, buyer number 3 is going to come behind you with that pre-approval in hand. And they're going to make that offer. You see, I can't make an offer for this home for you without the pre-approval. I have to have that to go with the offer. So let's not take that chance of the home being gone by the time you're ready to buy or ready to get your pre-approval.
And once you get the pre-approval, how long is it good for?
90 days. 90 days. I always tell them we have to be ready to play this game in what we call real estate right now. It's a different market. So to be able to play this game, we have to be ready to go. You know, I just got a pre-approval for a young girl that I showed a home to. And it's good for 90 days. She was very, very reluctant to get it. But then we went into the home, I showed it to her, she liked it, we got the pre-approval, and then she ended up not wanting to make the offer, which was really weird. But you want to encourage them, get that pre-approval because you know what? You're going to fall in love with the home and we're not going to be ready to make the offer and somebody else is. So let's be ahead of the game and get everything we need in line. So when we are ready, we can get it done. What else can I tell you?
Pre-approval is not for them not to get new credit or.
So listen, here's what, and this is going to sound bad, but you guys, I probably shouldn't say it. I will show max 3 homes without a pre-approval. And here's why. I call it first blood. Because when they walk into that first home for the first time, you see their eyes get big and you can tell their heart rate is, it's true story. You can see it. You can see the heart rate. You know, they're like getting excited, especially if they're a husband and wife and they're talking, you know. Okay, we've broken first blood. Like they are like hungry to buy a house. They're excited now. We go see house number 2 and house number 3. And they're talking about, oh, we really like this, we really like that. Okay, guys, I see you're excited. This house is not gonna last long. This is why I say we need to get this pre-approval. The other thing too is when you're gonna go show a home, print out the MLS sheet. But print out, it gives you options on which one to print. Print out the customer brief, not the whole sheet. You don't want them having the other side's information. If you do the customer brief, it's just your information and a description of the home. Then you take your highlighter and you highlight the things that are most important for them to keep their eyes on when they're looking at it. The price of the home, whether or not it has an HOA and how much the HOA is. The year it was built and the square footage. Highlight those things because they're looking through, what year was this home built? It's highlighted. I give them a pen. I have branded pens. They're super cheap on National Pen. I'll have to look and see. But I buy branded pens. I give them the sheet and I give them the pen. And I say, here's what I want you to do. On the back of the sheet, numbers 1 through 5, 1 through 5. The 5 things that you liked about this house and the 5 things you didn't like about this house. And here's why. We're gonna go see more than one home. And you're gonna go, which one was the one that had the, now you know. You have a picture of the home, you have the description and your notes of what you liked and what you didn't like. And you won't get confused on which one you liked best or which one you didn't like. So they're gonna appreciate that because 9 times out of 10, you walk in empty-handed, you're gonna go, oh, I can't remember. I want to ask you a question. Oh, which house was it? Was it the first or second house? And they're relying on you to remember which house it was. You know, now you've provided them with the tools. And they appreciate that. So be sure you print out that MLS sheet, customer brief, and you highlight the things that are going to be important. And even if you don't have branded pens, lawyers, titles, they provide, you can go get pens from them or any one of our vendors can provide pens for you. I hand that to them and say, this is for you. and here's what I want you to do.
Those materials you can print over here as well, right?
Yeah, so we don't charge for printing here. I don't know if you guys know that. Last year, the AOC voted, they used to charge like 3 cents a copy or something. They also voted last year not to charge for printing, black and white. or color. So yeah, you can print on anyone. If your laptop is not set up to print, either talk to Kevin or Clark, and they can get both the collaborative one back there or the one over here. So,
So don't Bluetooth pretty much?
yes, wireless. Yep. So. Any questions about that? Okay, I'm for real gonna get out of here this time. So I really am going this time. I gotta go make a call. But you guys know where my office is. If you guys ever come in, I'm down the hall past the mailroom. My door's always open. So I'm getting ready to put it's a little red door that says welcome. I'm getting ready to hang that from my door so you'll know it's my office. And it has a tag, it says Warwick Realty Group, so I'm next to the TV. I'm back there. You're more than welcome to reach out. I'm here to help. If you guys want me to go with you to prepare your home, let's set that up. I would really like to set up a group. I'll talk to Hunter and if you guys want to do that, we can do that. You know, what I'll do, I think, my next showing, I'll put it out on the Facebook group and I'll open it up. I wouldn't overwhelm my buyer, but maybe 1 or 2 could come and, you know, we'll go bring you home. I know I'm probably gonna have one in Whiting on Saturday. I'm still waiting for him to get back to me at what time. You know, I'll put it out and whoever wants to come with me, and he's a super cool guy. I've known him for a while. He won't mind. I think he was just an agent, one in the business. He won't mind. I'll put it out as soon as I know when he wants to go. So, if you guys are interested, you know, just let me know.
Thanks, Kim.
I love this, you guys. I hope I helped you guys. I hope I answered questions and covered more than I probably should have, but, you know, so anytime, call me, reach out, you know, we're here. Okay? All right, guys. Well, you guys have a great rest of your day. I look forward to seeing your names at every sales meeting with all this great sales and transactions and closings and, you know. So, okay? Bye. You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Hand it over.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. There's some little notepads here if you guys want to take them. So these are little notes. Like you can.
Yeah, you brought it up for us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, there's 3 web pages or 3 things. I got on my computer.
Thank you for all the help and information.
And
Hey, if you want to take it slow.
well, we also have the calendar.
Yep.
I got the bookmark, so I bookmarked it. The cloud. One of them actually goes sign into the takes it to. If you go to the command first or go to the cloud first, and then my connect, it's my connect. My KW.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so it's command, connect, my KW.
When he was going to do it, what was he going up to see? Was the first thing we got this morning.
I mean, this thing?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, this, 1 through 5. Pass these out too.
Yeah, I got one. He went into, I guess to get to that, he went into,
Oh, the Google Drive.
I said, "Google Drive?" Okay.
Go step one. I think these are the cards we talked about. So
The
yes,
only time that-
smiley faces.
So how did you get?
I-
Email saying, I just got.
I think I'll do smiley faces.
So.
No.
I got some feedback, so that's.
I'm not sure. We did, one thing I learned from school, teaching was affirmations. And so I think I kind of get saying things. I think with that, where I'm just going. Try anything
So.
Okay.
Brandon's family.
I just did.
Invite them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah.
You said.
Can I talk to them?
Okay, well, yeah, so they work.
Right.
Okay.
They want to spend the rest of my day on database.
Yeah.
All right, go on and NOS and try to go views and houses.
Well, well,
Okay, I have one more thing.
make sure that's tomorrow.
Okay, so she just brought up a good point. So she's a supervisor, and some of the people that she supervises live in different states. So I said to her, tell those people that are your employees, hey, if you know anybody that's looking to move to the DFW area, I'm a real estate agent. However, name a state that one you're Connecticut. Okay, so Connecticut. You can tell the employee, hey, if you know somebody that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in Connecticut, let me know. I have colleagues all over the world where I can help them.
Yes.
So, and then you just send them a referral, you find a KW agent in Connecticut. You say, hi, I'm a KW agent here in the KW area, I have someone that's looking to move to wherever Connecticut. Could you help them? Absolutely. Fill out that referral form, you send it to that KW agent, she signs it, her broker signs it, and then she sends it back to you. She contacts that person,